Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It's Tuesday. You know what time it is. It is Ashmatic Analysis Tuesday. But there was no game. It's international break. Ash, how you doing?
I'm good, my bro. I'm here, man. I'm alive, family. And yeah, man, blessings, man. Sometimes it's good to take a little break from Spurs. And boy, have we had a break. But saying that, it's almost that time for that Derby day coming up. So yeah, man, I'm ready to get back into action. How are you? How are you?
All good. All good considering. All good considering. Family troubles, but all good. As they say.
Blessings, bro.
As they
Yeah.
say. That's why I missed last week. But yeah, all good.
Good to see you back, bro. Good to see you back.
Yeah. But anyway, Spurs. To be honest, I haven't missed talking about them.
I can tell. Don't blame me.
It's like, oh my god, if it's not one thing, it's another. But no, it's been, look, 1/5 of the season done already. You know,
Mm,
got 4/5 left, as they say, 7 games done into it. So, do you know what, right? There was a quote last week, right? There was someone who put on X last week, and I quickly, before I bring up our guest, right, and I wanted to get your opinion on it as well,
mm.
right? See if I can get it out. 1 second.
To Brighton, because obviously before the Brighton game, we had gone on a run of 5 games. And I think if we'd won the sixth game, it would have been one of our best runs since, I don't know, 2018, 2019, something like that. Some type of ridiculous stat. Because we lost it, it turned into
Well, it turned out to look, now we're on our worst run since.
worst run. Yeah, yeah, you know what
So
I
it
mean?
was either
Football,
gonna go either
I,
go either way, right? But I really, do you know what? This tweet, right? And I saw it and I thought this just spoke volumes, right? It was a case of, look, if you want to call out fans for being reactionary after a bad loss,
mm,
call them. Yourself for being reactionary after we win too, and it works both ways, right? And you did kind of see it. You kind of saw that everyone who was like, who's been positive about the Ange and how it's been working over the last 6 games, going, see, told you, yeah, and was overreacting to it. But then when we lost, and then everyone's like, no, see, we're still the same problems, right?
mm.
And it's kind of like they were like, but oh no, you weren't saying, but it's always going to be that way, isn't it?
Yeah, we're polar. We're polarized fans, aren't we? We're very emotional. So either way, like if you've had the feeling for a long time and all of a sudden it comes true, you're like, guys, I told you, things don't change at all. So, but it's mad because I'm talking to people outside of the virtual world, in the real world. Yeah, I'm saying it, and I spoke to a couple of my guys, a couple of people I hadn't seen for a minute as well. Bumped into them in the gym, and like they were positive, and then now they're like, bro, I'm not too sure anymore. So, brother, it's funny. It's not just like, you think it's a small percentage on
Yeah.
YouTube and blah blah. It's not, man. It's
So I'm in the same boat as you. There's a couple guys that I work with and a couple people that know Spurs fans, and they're always coming to me telling me what their friends think or whatnot, and I'm like, okay. And they've all said to me is they know Ange is stubborn.
mm,
They can tell he's stubborn,
yeah,
but we can't sack him because there's nowhere else to go. And I'm kind of like, that's a bit of a sad state of affairs to be in at the moment. That's what people are thinking, right? It's not
mm,
really working, but I don't really want to go anywhere else. And I'm not saying he should be sacked. I'm just saying this is what people's perspective is at the moment.
it's like being in a for them it'll be like being in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
I stay in that. Yeah, it sounds mad, innit?
This is what Levy does to you, mate. I might as well just stay.
Hey, where's my drink, fam? Hey, where's my drink? Hold on. I'm playing,
but
I'm playing.
but before we get into more conversation, let's bring out the guests. Let's bring out the guests who can dissect Ange's first 7 games this season and most of what we've had of this year. But first of all, I like to bring him out. I call him the cough. Are you well?
I'm alive. I'm well. I'm not cold anymore because the weather is now, you don't know, but it's a good day. It's a good time to spend time with some great folks, and we're going to have a good laugh. It's always a good laugh, isn't it?
That's
It's
all.
always a fun life in the world of supporting Spurs. And yeah, it's a great day.
You know what, Ash? the next guest, I kind of regret that we haven't brought out. Woo! Why did I not think about it? You know, that's how you know my mind's been elsewhere, all right? But let's bring him out. Phil P, are you well?
Yes, boys. Yes, boys. Come on. Mate, I'm buzzing to be on. Hello, Marlon. Hello, Ash. Hello, the cough. And hello, everyone out there. Listen, one of the best channels in the history of YouTube, in the history of virtual life. And yeah, it's an honor and pleasure to be cutting out with you guys. And yeah, thanks for having me on. Look, it's been a funny. We're going to get into it, obviously, but I've been in I've been in a really strange place. If you'd asked me after a certain derby game that has gone a few games ago, I was like, yeah, basically this is, and it always is, like one of the most important games of the season for me in terms of local bragging rights. We all know a lot of teams from the other side of the divide, and you know it's not one you want to lose, especially the way they are and how how in contention they are at the moment. Don't be giving them a leg up at all. So after that game, I was in a dark, immediately after I was in a pretty dark place. But I just thought to myself, right, look, now it's up to the team, it's up to Ange. They've got themselves near the bottom of the barrel as far as I was concerned. You've got to dig your way back out. But generally, look, I've been quite sanguine about it. You know, where does everyone expect us to be? You know, whether it's this transfer window, generally our transfer business, whether it's where we were when Ange took over, which let's not forget, it was, you know, as our American cousins would say, a dumpster fire. It was pretty raw. So, you know, you've always got to take this thing in context, right? So I think it's interesting time. What I've been trying to do for my own mental health is I've been delving really into it when we've won. Going back to your tweet that you brought up there, Marlon, when we've done well and we've had good victories like Man U, you know, I've been walking around, you know, enjoying life, delving into the online situation, watching as much content as I can. When we haven't, I've just got on with the rest of my life. I've tried to forget that I support Spurs. I've just, you know, thought about deleting YouTube and just putting the phone away in the top drawer and, you know, just concentrating on real life. So, you know, I've been trying to take it a little bit steady, and I think that's a good way to go. But yeah, look, we'll get into it, guys. But a real pleasure to be on with you.
So Ash, let's talk about the main topic, right? Obviously, we've had no game. And Ange has had 7 games. Well, not 7 games. He's had, 9, including the 2 Europa League games as well, and 1 cup game against Coventry. So he's had 10 games overall. So, right. How do you assess the start of this season?
In isolation?
In
Or do you
isolation.
look
No,
just the
so
season?
let's look at this season as the first 10 games. We've had 10 games. Let's look at in isolation the first 10 games before we move on to the bigger picture.
Yeah. So in the last 10 games, it's been a mixed bag because we've had 3 league defeats. But then if you take away the 3 league defeats, we've actually won, correct me if I'm wrong, seven games. So yeah, 70% winning, 70% win rate. You think it's not bad. And this is where I'll be a politician right now, because if you look at the games we played last season, fixture for fixture, for example, when we played Newcastle, we lost, I think it was 4-1. The reverse fixture, we've won 2-1. I mean, we've lost 2-1. But performance-wise, most would say we looked a lot better than we did last season at St James's Park, where we got absolutely ripped apart, ripped to pieces. Then Manchester United was a massive improvement. Arsenal game was more or less much of the same, so that was quite disappointing. And obviously Brighton, we got pumped 4-2. It was 4-0 in the first half. And then obviously we gradually got back into it. With the Brighton game this season, it was reversed. We actually were dominating in the first half. Obviously, Matoma did his thing and Welbeck had that chance where he kind of couldn't get on the end of things. But generally, I just thought, yeah, we played well in that first half, and if we got the next goal in the second half, that game doesn't turn around the way it did. But due to lapses of concentration, due to mistakes, due to lack of fight hunger, desire, and this is where people start to look at Ange a little bit when he's just not making those changes. I think it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, combined with that Arsenal loss, as Phil was saying earlier. It feels like some of the old problems are the old ugly head is rearing itself. But to be fair, and my caveat to that would be, we only conceded that one set piece from the best set piece team in the league, and we've only conceded that one ball over the top, that transitional kind of goal, and that was against Newcastle. And again, your doggy was at fault for that. Not to kind of single him out, but you can start to see, like, if individual players start to improve their performance throughout that season, then maybe we won't make those same costly mistakes, and we can start improving those results. Because me personally, attacking wise, I don't think that's actually been the problem this season. Even though we've got players like Werner coming in, and we know what we want to say about Timo, he's not quite the level what we need to push on. And then you could argue with Solanke, he's the only player that's come into that starting 11 that's changed from last season. But overall, I think performance-wise, yes, we have improved. But in terms of where we are on the league table, Nasa. It's looking kind of techie right now, I'll be real. So, but that's football for you. It can go either way. Literally, we lose against West Ham, and then we go into a run where after Palace, we've got 3 games back to back. I think it's Aston Villa back to back with is it Galatasaray? Welcome to hell, followed by Man City.
Easy work in Turkey.
City, then it could be really techie for Mr. Postecoglou. Certain names will start getting thrown at him. So yeah, man, I'm here for it. As a Spurs fan, as a football fan, I'm here for it. I'm here for the challenge. I'm sure he is, and that's why he was talking so reckless. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that. I play open, I play entertaining, and hopefully we get the win. Like,
So
yeah, it's a lot going on right now.
So a user sent in a super chat, and I'm going to get you to answer it before I bring in the main boys. But Ange grading so far is 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Would you agree?
2 steps forward, 3 steps back. 3 steps back. I would 2.5 steps back. It's a full 3 steps back, because it's not all lost. I'm not all like, oh, we're back to the beginning. Because 3 steps back would imply we're worse than what we were.
Yeah.
What we started off, and I don't think that is true. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, oops. Oh, who's that? Hi, Jay.
What's going on, boys?
What's going on? So yeah, but
yeah, I know you guys have got like a 15-minute intro, so I just mistimed when to join the stream. Unfortunately, sorry.
But yeah, welcome,
a little bit over, but you know the drill. Good.
BPT. Don't worry. Marlon, you know, innit? Marlon's so disappointed in you. He's like, you're laying us down, bro.
I'm sorry. I'll just throw on mute. Well, the intro's still playing, isn't it? We're behind the scenes, aren't we?
Sort of.
Listen, I think 3 steps back is a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I would say 2.5, 2.2. I don't know. Like, yeah, we have improved from whatever mark you want to look at it, whether it's last season or the season before last. I would say, yeah, 2,
okay,
2, maybe even 1, but yeah.
Koff, I'm going to bring you in. And first 10 games, what have you made of it?
It's the worst start to a Premier League season since 2008, results-wise. We're talking about West Ham because we're playing West Ham this weekend. I know a lot of West Ham fans because go to a pub in Epping Forest. There's loads of West Ham fans. They do not like their manager. They're calling for their manager out. They're saying he's a clown. They're saying he's useless. They want him gone. They're saying the start of the season is disastrous. If they somehow beat us at the weekend, which is possible, anything can happen in a game of football, they go above us. They're only 2 points behind us. So there's two sides of the truth. There's my truth, which I'm the most negative person on the planet. I should get my Eeyore hat. It's sitting right there. I'll get it in a minute. And then there's the ultra positive truth, because everyone's got their own truth, and the truth's got to be the actual truth has got to be some way in the middle. Performances, I'm not happy with some of the performances this year. We went on a run of 6 games, 5-6 games. The performances were not good. Karabag at home was terrible. We were peppered by Karabag, and if Karabag had someone that could score, they would have beat us. Coventry, absolutely one of the worst Spurs performances I've ever seen in my history of supporting Tottenham in my 29 years. One of the worst performances, and if it weren't for that awesome man that is Brennan Johnson, big love to him, he got us out of a hole. Of course, it's good to win games playing badly, but I'm looking at this manager, and I know for a fact that the longest he's spent at a club is 3 years. And people always say, well, you got to give Ange his second season to get it right. If you go by past history, that he's only spent 3 years in a job, the longest he spent in a job is 6 years, but that was with the under-21s in Australia, and he only played like 34 games. So that's why he was there for that period of time. He's got to start getting it right. Because if you go by history and his average tenure at a football club, you've got to see it right, because history tells you he's not going to be here on the 3rd year. Perhaps we're wrong. Perhaps he's going to get the 3rd year. But there are still too many mistakes. And we've talked about this before, Ash. I hate inverted fullbacks. I really despise inverted fullbacks. And Phil P is going to jump in a minute that Ange plays inverted fullbacks just to deliberately upset me. But the best games I've seen us perform performance-wise were games where we played wide fullbacks and narrow wingers. So we got our wingers closer to goal and they scored goals, and our wing-backs played where they are supposed to play, in my personal opinion. Pedro Porro is a brilliant wing-back. Udogi is one of the best young wing-backs in the world, and we're playing him as a defensive midfielder a lot of the... Again, I watch this channel, so I've seen your tactical analysis. When we've got the ball, Destiny Udogi becomes a 3rd man in midfield. I've watched Spurs Kings TV. I watch it every week. So we diss it, but I really dislike inverted fullbacks. I know that's going to be negative, and people are going to be saying, "What, Koff? Why are you being so negative?" I want to see some better performances. I need to see some better performances, because if we continue, and again, worst start to a season since 2008. I was 12. That's a long time ago. That's real talk. I hadn't even had my bar mitzvah yet. That's that long ago. So it's... I'm not saying bring in Kwame Ramos or Harry Redknapp to fix it, but we've got to start seeing some improvement in results as well as performances. And that Brighton game, that second half, my God, that was diabolical. So it isn't... I'm going to get the Eeyore hat in a minute, because clearly I'm Mr. Eeyore tonight. But it's just, I want to see some better performances. I might be wrong, but let's see where it goes. Let's see where the journey takes us.
Koff, just quickly, just wanted to quickly ask you, what about the inverted fullbacks don't you like? Like, what is it that really grinds your gears about it?
I want my fullbacks playing where fullbacks play.
Okay. So you just...
Which is wide on either... I've seen Destiny Udogi play for Udinese, and he is fantastic at getting at his fullback. Big, strong geezer, built like a tank. I want him going past his fullback and whipping balls in. I want to see Pedro Porro, who's probably the best crosser in the team. I want to see him whipping balls in. I don't want to see Udogi playing next to Dominic Solanke when we've got Sonny hugging the touchline. I don't want to see it. I want Sonny where Udogi is, and I want Udogi where Sonny is. For me, it's just it's very, very it's simple for me. But I see football as a simple game. I don't necessarily like round pegs in square holes, and that's what I see inverted fullbacks as.
Phil, bring you in. 10 games in, how are you seeing Ange so far? Where are you sitting?
You know what? I think, and going back to the super chat sort of question, it's really difficult because, I know a lot of people have focused on how bad we've been in terms of like how many points we've got and our performances against the top sides. A lot of people have looked after that Chelsea game, which basically almost was like the death knell of last season, how bad we are and where we'd be. But ultimately, we finished 5th last season. And where we are now, if you would say like, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, I would almost say it's very difficult. It's so difficult to actually judge it at the moment. And that's why I think there's so much sort of, there's so much sort of fans at loggerheads at the moment and different views on this, because I think no one really knows how to feel. I think even Ange himself doesn't know how to feel sometimes. If you saw his face at the end of that game, look, I've seen that look from Greek blokes who live in North London. He was ready to kill. He was ready to kill someone.
Yeah, he was.
And I think that might have been, you know what?
The Eureka moment.
Yeah, forget about what he said and why he didn't make subs. I almost feel like, and obviously, look, he should have made subs. At some stage, he should have said, look, Destiny or someone who's not getting their foot in there, come and sit down with me. You've got to do up the bench at this stage, chaps, because you're having a shocker. But maybe just thought, if I actually get anywhere near these blokes, I'm going to rip their windpipe out like Patrick Swayze at the end of Roadhouse. Do you know what I mean? And do a madness. So he just was like, maybe stay away from me so we don't get hauled up for violence. But it's so difficult to judge. So I would almost say it's not 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It's almost like, we're on the dance floor, we're mungling, we're in and amongst it, but it's crowded. The lights are low. There's a lot of strobe effects, and we're not actually sure how far along the dance floor we are. Like, how far to the booth are we? How far away from the bar are we? We don't know yet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens at the end and when the lights come up to see where we're at. But look, for me, after the Arsenal game, I looked at it and I thought all the games up to that point, you could say, we hadn't really capitalised on the possession that we'd had, right? So whether that's a system issue, whether that's player performance issues, but I said, clearly, the manager's always got to carry the can for this. He's always going to be the one that bears the brunt. And ultimately, if we don't fix up, if we don't get where we want to by the end of the season or the end of next season or any period of time, he's ultimately going to be the one to pay the price with his job, right? Sooner or later. But the players themselves have got to up the ante. Particularly in that Arsenal game. I know I keep harking back to it, but in that you could see so many of our players weren't playing up to where their normal levels are. And you're thinking, what's going on? What's happening here? But since then, I do think, and this run that we've been on, you've seen some better performances, and you've seen Maddison is starting to deliver more. You've seen VDV do more. You've seen Destiny maybe get match fitness back, match sharpness back. Unfortunately, that all seems to have gone by the wayside with his latest injury. And of course, the last half that he played, we all know about. But I think that if we start to see more consistent performances from the players, that automatically will mean we'll get more consistent from the team. But, I mean, Ben's obviously right. If you look at where we are this season, it's not where any of us want to be. But we've been so close in some of these games. And to your point, Ash, if we look at the mirror fixtures from last season, okay, we're probably no better off in terms of results. In fact, it's only Man U that's probably better off than we were last year. But actually, the performances, Arsenal have had to do up a spicy Stoke impression coming to White Hart Lane. You're thinking, what's going on here? And like Newcastle, apparently one of the better teams in the league, have also had to play like that. And fair play to them, they've got results. That's what it's all about. So nothing bad on them. But I'm just thinking, we're at the cusp. You almost see it going two ways, chaps. We're on a knife edge at the moment, and Brighton almost summed it up well. One half may be good, and one half disaster. Absolute disaster. So
P quoting the philosopher that is Gennaro Gattuso.
Exactly. I never want to be quoted by him. I'm fully on Joe Jordan's side as far as the Gattuso dividing line comes. But, this is where we're at the moment, guys. I think you can, and this is why I think people that are more positive than Ben can almost see.
I think everyone's more positive.
Yeah,
than
of course.
Bill. I think I think a bit of roadkill at the side of the road is more positive than I am.
Yeah, exactly, because their suffering's gone. They don't have to worry about Spurs results anymore. Well, listen, Ben, I can't believe it. The carrier bag game was fantastic, mate. Down to 10 men, we won 3-0, and you and me had like an extra half an hour in the bar getting a few beers in. I thought it was amazing.
That was the moment of the evening for me, because after that it was terrible.
Listen, shout out to anyone that was at carrier bag, mate, because that was front line. If you were at that game, salute to you, because that was frontline Spurs. All the soft core had stayed at home and didn't want to have a bar of it. We were there fighting through the rain and the wind and the train cancellations and all sorts. You know, even the other team couldn't get to the stadium, but me and Ben were there, and we were throwing our weight around. You know what I mean?
I still got to the Chit King on time. Still got to Chit King on time.
Hey, Jane, the question is, basically, have Spurs improved? Pretty much. That's what we're asking. Have Spurs improved?
Yeah, so basically, I was listening to some of the takes, and first of all, I think it's outrageous to say that about the Karabakh performance when we played with 10 men for like 80 plus. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you played against a team that has 11, a team that Bayer Leverkusen needed injury time last season to be in a knockout stage of the Europa League, and we played 10 men and we beat them 3-0. Like, I don't know what your standard. Maybe one should support City or something, because if your standards are so high that is a terrible performance to you, then I'm just like, okay, cool. So we're not doing nuance today. So no point in me doing nuance either. So you want to talk about Spurs' start this season? I think Spurs are better than last season. Yeah, and the reason why I'm going to say that is because objectively,
points.
Pardon?
We've got less points.
Yeah, but the thing, this is your point, but bro, it seems like you can't do objectivity. What were the results in the same games last season? Yeah, because if you want to compare game on game, that to me is the easiest way to gauge how good or bad Spurs were. So you can look at Everton versus Everton. You can look at Brentford versus Brentford, Newcastle versus Newcastle. So if we have the same points, more or less, that we generated in the games last season, but the performances are better, and the underlyings are better, but the performances aren't there yet, then I could say, then we're playing better. We're playing better, achieving the similar results. Newcastle last season, Newcastle this season, we were better. Arsenal last season, Arsenal this season, you could argue we were better. I'm saying that the performances and the underlyings are better. And a lot of what people are talking about is the way the fixture list has fallen for us in relation to this. You know, like, to me, if you look at last season, you lost to Chelsea, you lost to Newcastle away, you lost to Arsenal at home, you lost to City at home. It's obviously not good, and it's not a great run, but it's possible to lose those games. It is possible to lose those games. So the way I see it is that obviously the results have to improve, but we are, what's it, eight games into this, eight Premier League games into the season?
7 games in.
7 games. It's early. It's way, 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 way too early. Yeah, to see, like, when I'm looking at these performances, if I'm watching Brighton game and I see Udoghi's performance, like, how is that Ange's fault? Like, how is what Udoghi did in that second half Ange's fault? I can blame him for not pulling him out at 2-2. At 2-2, I'm like, okay, why is this guy still on the pitch? He has to come out. That's your fault, Ange. Do you see what I mean? Because if you make a mistake like Udoghi made 3 minutes into the second half, and then people are like, Ange needs to say, it's 3 minutes and one of your defenders has made a disastrous mistake. Is that really time to change? Like, is there enough evidence to change the game in that moment? Not really for me. So then after the second goal, that's around 60 minutes, 61 minutes. Yeah? Okay, now you need to change something, in my opinion. He doesn't, and then I'll give him and I'll attribute blame to him. But the team, that's the same team that blew him apart in the first half and was looking good. You know, 6 wins on the trot. I think there was someone in the comments made a good point, you know. How can this be our worst start when Ramos had like 2 points or something? I don't know
our
how.
worst start since then. I'm not
Okay,
saying
so I was okay.
it's
So
our
so
worst
let's
start
get
since
this there.
then.
I think it's obviously on the points point of view not good. I think there's positives there. We've obviously got a bigger load of games as well, so we're playing more games. We've got a younger squad. I'd argue we had more. I'd make an argument. You can make the argument that the squad was better last season, or at least more experienced. You know, you had Perisic, just Højbjerg, stuff like that. You know, you had players coming into the squad. You know, we've played games this season, like for example, last few weeks, no Son, no Richarlison, no Odegaard. You know, that's 3 out of 7 attacking options. You've obviously as well. You know, we've actually, you know, the games we've played: Brighton away, Newcastle away,
Well,
uh,
Jay,
United away.
would you say that?
Arsenal home.
Sorry, Ash.
Go
When
on.
it regards to high standards, yes, I do have high standards because my season ticket is £2,400 a year. Of course, I got high standards.
What's
It's
that?
gone up. It's gone up by 6%.
Okay.
It's gone up by 6%.
Okay. So,
I want my for that money. I want to see improvement in the team from last season.
but the thing is you're giving 7 games to justify. So I'm saying like,
it's
okay,
Technically 10.
you're
Technically
not
10
paying for the guarantee of results. You're paying to watch Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, yeah, and to have professionals try. You are not guaranteed results. We all want results. So using your season ticket as the barometer, to me, it literally makes no sense. Like I don't know. Like you can say I want the club to invest more because I spend this on my season ticket, and the club should be using my money to invest. Wonky argument, but I'll accept it.
Look,
If you're saying
just
because
said
I pay this
you've
much,
just said
we must
yourself-
win games, doesn't make sense.
You've
It
just
literally
said
doesn't make
yourself
sense.
that the
It's
team.
not a logical
you just
argument.
said, arguably, the team is worse and less experienced than last year.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Why have I increased my season ticket by 6% then?
Right, but-
why are they charging me more for a worse product?
Must you pay that? I don't. I'm kind of a bit confused.
Then you're
because-
saying I should go and support City.
No, I said if
No,
your
that's what you're saying.
no, I said if your standards are so high that you said that Karabakh 3-0 was a bad game, then you
was
should
a bad
support City.
performance.
Don't conflate my argument. I didn't say you should support City
Yes, you
because
did.
it's unacceptable that you want us to have done better. I said you should say
You
that
did.
because you said the Karabakh performance was terrible.
It was a
That's
poor
specifically why. So let's not conflate what I'm saying because that's not what I said really,
It
is
was
it?
a poor performance. You can have a poor performance and still win a game. It was a poor performance.
It wasn't
Just-
objectively
just
a poor
as-
performance.
Just as beating Man United away was a fantastic performance. I'm
Okay.
judging game by game. On my eye of watching that game, it was a poor performance. Just as Coventry was a poor performance. Just as
Right.
Brentford was a very good performance. And I'm happy
Okay.
with these
Can I ask
performances.
a question? Sorry to break up the conversation a little bit, but do you think, and anyone can jump in, Spurs have a control issue at the moment? And does everyone know what I mean by control? Like, does Spurs have a weakness where we don't know how to, like, I hear Ange saying that, you know, we're relentless, we don't stop, you know, we're basically going for the jugular, we want to attack, we score more than the other team. It's that type of philosophy that he's trying to install into the DNA. He doesn't want teams to invite pressure on and go into a low block or a mid block, or to slow things down or adjust halfway through. But the whole argument, I think I heard a lot of people were saying, is that Spurs are missing a number 6. Do you guys agree that we sometimes lack control, especially in the midfield area? And I'll start with Phil P, and then anyone else can jump in.
I'm sorry, but had I finished my point?
Sorry, go on,
we
go
can
on.
move on, but I wasn't sure I'd finished my point because he did
Go on.
jump in when I was making my point. But we'll go on
Go
to
on,
the next
finish.
topic. But yeah, it's calm.
No.
Let's go.
I thought you were finished. I was adding on to that point because I thought it was going between the carrier bag and the pricing, and I was like,
No, but
Let's
because my point is he came back into the point when I was making my point. Hence, we moved on to that topic, but I hadn't actually finished my point. But we'll move on because I can't be bothered with it. But let's go.
all right, cool. But no, just to keep it football. What do you guys think?
I
And I'll start.
think in terms of control, I definitely see that there's an argument around this because I've been thinking about this, and look, I'm not saying Poch was the best thing since sliced bread. I definitely wouldn't take him back, that sort of thing. That's basically where I'm at with that. But if you think back to the prime Poch, we had so much possession of the ball, but we seem, I think our defence was so good, not just because we had good players in those positions, and we seemed solid, but that's because we had so much control over the ball and kept the ball so well at that time. But going to what your point is, though, Ash, if I'm right in my understanding of whatever Ange ball is, and it is about being relentless and constantly pressing and being on the front foot, I think the problem was that we saw at Brighton that didn't happen. We weren't pressing them. We weren't winning the ball back quick enough and high enough up the pitch. So they were pushing us back. And maybe that's why the guy was so angry. And yes, it did come down to individual mistakes, the goals, but really we were a yard, 2 yards shy of where we needed to be and how quick we were going in. And if you look, Big Dom Solanke was leading the press relentless, trying in that second half, but no one was coming with him. So I think lack of control is a bit of an issue at the moment. And in the games where we have played well, the performances have been better. You can see the likes of Bentancur maybe playing in that deeper line midfield role seems to have had his better games. And look, first half against Brighton, I thought we played really well, but then the second half, a shambles. And obviously, Kulu, I think having someone with his physicality in the midfield, but still in a sort of more creative mould, but the guy's so hard to knock off the ball. It's shades of. He's obviously not in the same league at him at the moment, but sort of that Musa sort of physicality in the midfield, where you're like thinking, how are these young bucks going to get the ball off this guy? Do you know what I mean? He's strong. So I think. But look, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Hasn't Ange actually come out and said in presses before when he's been asked about, do you see this person as a 6, or do we need a 6, or who's an 8 and who's a 10, whatever? He just said, look, I just want good midfielders. A midfielder should be able to do, and a player should be able to do all these things. And I wonder whether that's why we haven't gone out and bought a sort of like for like upgrade maybe on Højbjerg, because Ange thinks, well, we just need a ball player. And actually, look, you know what made me think of this as well? Some of the criticism that some of the Man U factions were having after the Man U game, they were saying Agate's come in. I think Scholesy might have said something about this as well. Agate's come in as this ball winning sort of number 6. The guy's not techie enough. Do you know what I mean? He's not a good enough footballer at the moment, it looks like, to actually play midfield for Man U. And so I can see the methodology of what Ange is trying to do, or maybe the philosophy that he's trying to bring, but I just don't know whether football works like that anymore. Gone are the days where you'd have people like Musa, or even further back, people like Roy Keane or Stevie G, who developed and changed their role throughout their career and could play, more box to box, could play further up, could play further back. They were total package midfielders. I don't know whether those players exist anymore, and I don't know whether that's what Ange is trying to create, and whether we've got the tools at our disposal now, or whether there's players out there that can do this. But we're definitely lacking it at the moment. But I like to think we can get there with some of the players we've got. But the jury's massively out for me at the moment. But
it's a question of philosophy, though, isn't it, Phil? Because we're talking about control and number 6s, and it's all fine and dandy. I think we all love a number 6. We've come from the football club of Scott Parker's, Moussa Dembele's, Victor Wanyama, a fantastic footballer. Ange doesn't play with a recognised number 6. He's never in his entire career as a manager, and that goes back to his Australia days. He doesn't play with one. Celtic, he played with McGregor, who is more of a roaming number 6. So it's very difficult because you're asking a manager to play a player in a position he's never played before, and then when other people say, "Oh, we should do this," we're saying, "Oh, he should be allowed to." It's very difficult because he doesn't play. We all know who Ange wanted in the summer. He wanted Conor Gallagher. That was his guy. That was the guy he really wanted to come into the midfield. He wanted a high energy, high pressing footballer that wins the ball higher up the pitch and then passes it on to the creative players to open up those half spaces, as Ashmatic likes to call it, to score the goals. That's what he likes. We didn't get one of those. We didn't get any of those, so we've had to adapt by bringing Kulusevski, who's done fantastic in that role. To be fair to him, I love the Kulu Defence League. We're eating good on the Kulu Defence League. I think he's been brilliant there, and I think that's also allowed for James Madden. It's out of necessity we've had to play Kulusevski, but he's gone with it to a duck to water. He's even playing that brilliantly for Sweden, scored a goal and made us an assist last night.
Yeah, but Ben, necessity is the mother of invention, isn't
absolutely, isn't it? But to bring up that we don't control games, Ange's idea of control might not be the same way of control that we have. So to put it on a positive note, his way of control is having the ball as far away from our goal as possible and pressing them relentlessly, them to lose the ball, and then one of our wingers to pick up and score. I think that's, which is why he wanted Big Dom Solanke. That's why we might have wanted an Ivan Toney in the summer, but Ivan Toney is totally unsuitable for an Ange Postecoglou team. And you've seen Dominic Solanke has made Maddison a better player. He's made Johnson a better player. And it's fantastic to see him doing well. But we're talking about, football's a game of philosophy. It's a game of philosophy. And we're asking a manager who doesn't play with that position to play that position. He's not going to do it. So for me, it's just sort of a red herring situation. And Ange's idea of control, to give him a bit of slack, his idea of control might be different from our idea of control. Just to be fair to the geezer, he wants the ball in the opponent's half, with us pressing, win the ball back very quickly and score goals. You can't define control because Pep Guardiola's idea of control is different from Ange's point of view or Poch's. It's so difficult to really say. Really, it's just got to be fair.
Jay, what's your idea of this control? Do you Spurs lack control in terms of a six? How do you
I think point gentleman just made is somewhat accurate in terms of perception of what you classify control as. So obviously, in order to answer a question, you probably need to define it. Do Spurs lack players that can put their studs on the ball and slow the game down? Yeah. I always look at Spurs when we're talking about them as a not final form team, and a lot of, I don't look at the players that are here in the squad now as players that are long term going to be at the position at the club. You know, like even when I was seeing people talk about Vicario, I was like, there's 50-50. He could be our Ramsdale, or he could grow out of certain attributes he's got. It's whatever to me. The thing for me is, if you look at the players the club has got, there's a slight gap between, and I expected it this season, I think I spoke about it in the summer, is when you buy younger players rather than, like we were in for Ramsey and stuff like that. There's certain players we tried to get. I don't think we're as hot on Conor Gallagher as other people think. I think, we had ideas of who we wanted. But in terms of control, I think Spurs control games pretty well. Better than we did last season. Like I think total control is something that is, you can either say we can achieve it, but it takes a period of time, or it's not possible. Now, you can have a certain level of control, but the more you control, the less opportunity you give to world-class players to punish you. So I'm not against Ange's variation of football and saying we're going to try and dominate the ball. And we're going to, second half against Brighton was terrible. We all know it was terrible. But we still went there in the first half and exhibited a decent level of control and a good level of performance. Now, we lost the game, but I'm not just going to ignore the first 45 minutes. Against Newcastle, we exhibited a good level of control. Against United, a good level of control. Against Arsenal, kept them to like the lowest XG they've had this season, even though we're a very open team and they're going to kick. we've exhibited to me control all season. Has our football been mistake proof? No. And I look at that in terms of, it does our level of football require a level of concentration and football intellect that some of the players in the squad lack? To me, that's a different question. And that's a question where, when you get certain players in the team, like you look at someone like Udogi and you're like, great player, blah, 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 but should he be the main man at his age, or should he be playing with somebody else who's a little bit older and stuff like that? So to me, control is a lot of the decision making in real time of the players, and your football intelligence to make the right decision, to have empathy, to understand what you're doing in certain moments. And I think the squad does lack characters to that extent, which I think if you plugged it in, you would see a better version of how the football we play. So, do we lack control? Kind of, but I don't necessarily think that is purely a tactical issue. It could just as well be a personnel and a real time decision making by the players issue.
So, Jake, I just wanted to get on a point there. So you made a great point saying, actually, we can't forget what happened in the first half against Brighton, right? And you can't forget what's happened in certain games this season, where Ash's question is, do we lose control? Is it not more down to then, right? Let's take Brighton. Is it not more down to the subs and when they're being made, and when we start to lose control, maybe is what the bigger issue is here, more than us needing a number 6?
Well, the thing is, I don't even look at it as just needing a number 6. There's more issue. Like, to me, it's very layered. So the next issue for me then is like our out of possession. So to me, it's clear that we don't work as a team out of possession anywhere near as much as we work as a team in possession. Which means that when you have things that happen in the Brighton second half, the players don't have a default system to retreat into that can help them be stable. Yeah. So to me, that's a coaching issue within the team. We have an issue there that we don't know how to be compact overly at if the game requires it, because we spend too much time on the attacking side. But that's almost to me like a layering of what's going on at Tottenham. So I didn't necessarily, if you haven't perfected system A, we're asking for sub levels within the system to be very good when we've not even got the first version. So, like, within that, I think that the manager has to look at we concede a lot of goals between like 50 and 60 minutes. Yeah, a lot of goals. A lot of our goals are conceded in that time period.
Yeah.
So is the manager needing to make changes? Does he need to tweak it at halftime? Is every time we get to an hour in a game, does our energy levels drop? So he needs to be making at least 2/3 substitutions.
And then this is the question, yeah.
Manager's issue for not pulling up, or is it the players need to be more? They need to be thinking. The system will help you as much as it can help you, but it's not going to take over your brain for you. And the players need to be responsible in real time. But yeah, no, it's a good question. I think control, we do lack control at times, and the manager can be looking at that, and sometimes it's going well. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes our lack of control is like bang. Do you know what I mean? And it's just there. And to me, the players lack mental fortitude. When the going gets tough, especially against good teams, especially away from home, like Conte, these guys don't like to play under pressure. Yeah, some of these guys do not like to play under pressure. Away from home, crowd going nuts. At home against good teams, the team wilts. And that's a mindset thing just as much as it is a tactical and coaching thing.
But Jay, isn't that the biggest worry I think we all have? Right, it's like Trigger's broom, isn't it? Everything has changed. The managers changed, the staff have changed on the coaching side. Vast majority of the players have changed now, right? Over recent seasons. Yet we've still got that soft underbelly. We won't mention the S word, but whether it's away from home, as you've just correctly mentioned, or even at home, as soon as the Gooners scored that header, all of Spurs players' heads went down And to be fair, even the fans in the crowd were like, "Oh, here we go again." Do you know what I mean? But no one raised it again.
Don't forget Nick. He had his back to goal.
Yeah, I'll blame him. Lack of mentality in the crowd. But the only thing I would say, just one last thing I wanted to say about the control thing, because Jay raised a load of good points there. Wouldn't the ultimate control in what I see as this Ange thing, as well as constantly being out of press, and so maybe he's wrong in what he's saying about the subs, maybe he should be changing it, to your point, Jay, earlier to refresh it, to make sure we kept those high energy levels up. But really, the ultimate way to control the game is a scoreboard. If we were scoring more when we're on top, then almost it takes the game out of people's hands. And that's the ultimate control. And of course, we don't want to be in a situation where we're having to score 4 goals to kill a game. Do you know what I mean? That's ridiculous. But if you're 4-0 up, then, one of the biggest worries I had a lot, apart from the fact that we didn't seem to have any control over, like, you know, stopping them scoring, especially that third goal, comedy of errors, right, was for a team that was being penned back so much, and with the quality that we have and we should have to be able to get in behind teams, we hardly broke at all that second half. Do you know what I mean? The chances we created that second half were few and far between. And I do think that goes back to your point, Jay, about, you know, the lack of players' ability, not just to make the right decisions, but to take it on their shoulders. And maybe, look, as much as I think you could pick holes all day long in some of the comments Ash made, you didn't make any bad comments, Ash, as per usual, but Ange made after the game, you know, you could drive a bus through some of those comments. But ultimately, I think he's trying to get the players to take that responsibility, to actually be grown-ups and say, you know, we've got ourselves into this mess. We're going to get ourselves out of it.
It's going to be very difficult, though, Phil, isn't it? Because it's an average age of 23. What you've all said, and I absolutely concur with all of you, in the summer, we didn't necessarily need a positional footballer. I think one of the things Ange is trying to be doing, to put myself on the positive side of the fence, to try and be balanced, I think what Ange has been trying to do with this squad, even in terms of the way he manages the team, I think he's tried to make the players sort it out amongst themselves. And with sorting it out amongst yourselves, what you really need is a leader in the dressing room. And if we look at the Spurs team, there is a massive lack of leaders. Yes, we've got a leadership, quote-unquote leadership, but our leaders... Well, Sonny was injured, so you can't really blame Sonny. He wasn't even in the stadium at that point. It wasn't in the. We had 2 of our leadership team in that stadium, and they both in that second half they both were invisible. And that's Romero, who was making idiotic decisions to run out of the defensive line to try and win the ball back and get this, which that's his game. That's his game. He tries to play on the front foot. He tries to win the ball back high and then start another attack. Fair enough, but I think in those under the cosh situations, what you need is someone like a Scott Parker, someone that's going to get the boys.
Hey, come on, you're not as young as you look, mate. You remember Scotty Parker?
I know. It's just I get the logic, but it's like it's not Romero's fault. Udogie and Van der Ven went brain dead against Brighton.
No, but it is his fault that when we're defending, he charges out of the defensive line. Right. And the one thing as a defender you do not want to do is face your back to goal. So if he pushes out of his line and the ball comes in behind, all 3 of those defenders have to face goal. And no defender wants that.
The only thing, to be fair, I would say,
you need someone, a leadership guy that's going to get the team together and say, boys, we're under a lot of pressure at the moment. Let's drop back 10 yards.
That's a question.
That would take the strain off the manager, because the manager isn't having to tell players, you do this, you do... Because going back to the point, I think Ange wants the players to sort it out amongst themselves, which is why he says, this space is your dressing room. He said it on video. This is your dressing room. Sort it out amongst yourselves. We need to hold shape. And
you're right. Yes, yeah. I disagree with what you're saying.
We need a captain that's going to round them up. Again, that's what Scott Parker would have done. He would have rounded up the players and said, boys, we are under cosh. Let's defend.
Wait, Ben, hold on. Let me just stop you. If I can have a light rebuttal. Just a light rebuttal.
Yeah.
is it a leadership issue or is it a quality issue? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
In terms of no. And I say that because
Yeah, but is
if
leadership
you're
a quality,
saying
Ash? Is
Leadership is a quality.
to-
But then you can,
Leadership definitely is a quality.
but I can rebuttal that, Ash, and you've got loads of Spurs fans saying this is one of the best squads we've ever had. So,
You know what? I'll genuinely say I have not heard one Spurs fan say that. That sentence that you just said, I have never, honestly, and I'm chronically online. Like, so, you know, girls like switch your phone off. I live online, and I ain't ever heard one person look at this squad with Bergvall, Archie Gray, and Odebear in it and say this is one of the best squads here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Like, listen, I'm sure you make a lot of good points. But that point is definitely not true.
You've got
if you can find me one tweet that says this is one of the best
Twitter, mate. I left Twitter 16 years
I
ago.
will graciously apologize for besmirching your good name. But in the meantime, fuck no.
But you have people saying that Romero and Van der Ven are better than Saliba and Gabriel. You have people saying that Udogi is one of the best left backs in the league. Yeah. You have people saying that Pedro Porro is one of the best right backs in the world. Yeah. If these players are so good, they should have the quality to sort it out amongst themselves. It is a bit of hyperbole. I'll give you that. It is a bit of hyperbole. The internet is hyperbole. That's the point of the internet. Otherwise, none of us would have.
Jay missed the tweet at the beginning, so
you have people saying that.
Calv, I understand you now. Like, everything you say, I just put it through, like, just knock it down 20% filter, and I'm like, okay, I understand the broad point he's making. Don't worry, I got it. The calculations are calculating.
But, yeah,
Jay, I can't believe you're chronically online, but you weren't online for the first 15 minutes.
I know.
You're meant to be online.
The intro is 20 minutes. It's like 25 minutes. So what do you want from me?
But Romero is one of the best centre backs in the world. But Eugene said it. Three of the goals that have cost us games are him leaving the defensive line and causing his fellow centre-backs to face goal. The goal that we conceded, which was a Doggy's fault, was because he had his front to goal. He was
what you talking about? Where Doggy suddenly forgot the ability to kick the ball. That goal. You cannot blame anybody but Van der Ven and Udogi. Van der Ven should cut the cross out. Udogi just clear the ball. I don't need to hit, like, because the funniest thing to me is that people will try and put the third goal on Romero, and be like, oh man, he didn't deal with that at the end of it. But then they're going to put this goal on him too and not say these defenders should have dealt with it. It's hypocritical. You can't be saying that Romero's at fault for the third and the first, because if he's at fault for the first, then the other two defenders, Udogi and Bentancur, are at fault for the third. Because if that's the logic, that the person who has the first mistake leads to the actual goal being conceded, then those other players, when those other players made the first mistake, like Romero's made mistakes this season, but we can't play the ball without him. We literally cannot play the ball from defense properly without Romero. And we are a ball-first side. So yes, it's horrible, these mistakes, but go watch Holland with Van der Ven instead of Van Dijk. Go watch us for 5 minutes against Coventry when it's Dragusin Davies, or against Qarabag when Romero's out, and we have serious issues progressing the ball. And that's because Romero is one of definitely top 3 or 4 ball-playing centre-backs in the Premier League. So he's made some mistakes, but on the ball, he's been excellent this season. He's actually been very good on the ball. Defensively, nah.
But that's the point, Jay. He is a defender. It says it in the title that he's a defender. Absolutely. The fault is with Udogi. The fault, he's the one that lost the ball. But the way we defend and the way we push out of space and get our other defenders, we don't play as a unit. There isn't. People say I don't think Romero's a leader in any way. The Romero's best games are when he's with a leader, which a lot of the time is with Otamendi. Otamendi is a leader because he screams at Romero. If you leave this back four and you leave us under the cosh, I'm taking you outside after the game and I'm throwing a boot at you. So there is a lack of leaders in the team to go, we need to stop vacating valuable spaces and making defenders do what they hate doing, which is facing goal, chasing the ball. Because you don't defend. I was a very amateur defender, probably one of the worst defenders you've ever seen. But I know as a defender, the one thing you do not want to do is face your own goal and have to exert pace. You don't want to do it. And that's what we seem to do as a defensive line, which is why we concede the goals we concede, because we're not playing with the ball in front of us. The ball's always been put in behind us, and that is mainly the cause of our problems.
I do think, though, with the leadership thing, just one sec, Ash, the only thing I think with the leadership thing is where I think people have got such a bee in their bonnet about Romero at the moment is he had individual errors for some of those goals. Like I personally, of course, yeah, he's gone charging out for that goal, but then Udogie and Van de Ven have got to help their mate out, right? If he's gone through, one of them have got to make a meaningful change, and they don't for that goal when it's come through central. And for the last goal, obviously...
No, don't worry. There's still plenty of blame for that second goal too.
Yeah,
that second goal where Udogie should clear the ball. And then what does he do? Gives Ruter a little push. Gives him that little Sonic the Energy boost to get past Van de Ven and finish off the job. Go watch the goal again. Gives him a little push.
In the same way that Romero should have been able to counter, to Ben's point about, being a unit... Being a real team, when one of your muckers messes up, like if one of us misspeaks tonight, hopefully the others are going to catch them and say, "Didn't you mean this?"
Can I ask a question?
But on that third goal, my only point is my defense for Romero is so much because on the third goal, I can't believe people are blaming Romero. I swear to God, I can't believe it, because Udogie for that third goal, I'm watching him thinking, "What are you doing? And he walks through Udogie. Then Bentancur, he is chilling. No. There's levels to this. He's favorite for the ball, and not only does he get to the ball late, he also allows the player to cross the ball in. To be fair to Ruter, it's an exceptional cross. It's considering it's like a slide tackle, chip up cross. It's a great cross, and then Romero's not in the right position. Fair, but I'm like, for that ball,
Romero's before it,
bro. For that ball to get to where Romero's in the wrong position. Also, Welbeck peels off nicely for that goal. It's actually good movement by Welbeck. But for that to happen, do you know how? Like, for me, it's like if Man City conceded that goal, nobody is blaming Diaz. They're looking at Gvardiol and they're looking at Rodri and they're saying, "What are you doing?" If Arsenal concede that goal, they're looking at Zinchenko. They would have murdered Zinchenko for that. If that's Zinchenko who does what Udogie does in that goal, Arsenal fans will never, ever, ever let Zinchenko. Arsenal still talk about...
but also Zinchenko would have been crying as well, Jay.
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. So if then Zinchenko made that mistake and then Rodri made another mistake Rice made another mistake, the same mistake Bentancur made, there's no way that... I saw Arsenal fans defending Saliba against Belgium for conceding the same goal. Man peeling off him yesterday. No one said a thing. Arsenal.
But Jay, don't you think the issue, though, Romero has... Forget about the fact that, okay, your argument basically is, and forgive me if I'm simplifying this, his mates have let him down on that third goal, and the statistical chances, the probability of that cross coming in on the slide is negligible. And okay, we'll let him off for that. My worry is, though, okay, defensively he's been at fault for some of these goals we've conceded, as Ben said. But actually, where was the leadership when the first goal or second goal have gone in? Where's him going? And it's been said on a few pods, right, this week and last week. He's happy enough to go around slapping guys on the head when they've scored and giving it the big one there. Right. Where's the alpha dog energy when we're shipping goals? You know what I mean?
As a defender.
We're like a colander,
You know what?
Go around trying to save some of the water, my guy.
Defenders' goals are him getting clean sheets. It goes back to them. I know it's a scum story, but we have to... Arsenal won 6-1. They were 6-0 up and they conceded a goal. and Jens Lehmann went in the dressing room and smashed the dressing room up, and everyone was wondering. It was like, oh, we won 6-1. Why are you complaining? It's because I got a dirty sheet. I don't like conceding goals. We need to have the same pride in defending, and as we do. We don't defend as a unit. You could blame Porro for that because that's his man. When the ball comes in from the left-hand side,
this is going to be my question to all of you, right? Because I think that's a big vital part to all of this when it comes to Romero, right? And you look at that, you look at that first goal, right? And you look at what Matoma did to Porro in the second half. And nobody has sat there, right, and gone after Pedro Porro because they love him so much. But Pedro Porro's defending is not the best.
Hold on. Before P came in, yeah.
We've all got an agenda.
So that's what
Why is no one?
My question is Romero's issue because Pedro, he has to do certain things differently because Pedro Porro, let's be honest, is not the best defender. So the mistakes are gonna happen.
Well, listen, Marla, I wanted to say, like, I think that's an astute observation because if I'm a defender and I look to my right, I'm like, where's my right? Where's my mate? And he's gallivanting as a false nine. I'm gonna be like, what's going on here? And it's not even like I'm Van der Ven. I've got Van der Ven's pace, so Van der Ven's constantly out of position. Yeah, but he's got that recovery pace, so no one worries about it. Yeah, but when Van der Ven gets square, when they set him, like I've seen a couple of players do it. They slow him down, and then they speed him up again, and the guy can't move. He goes straight into robot settings. Yeah, as in like he malfunctions, and it's fine because it's my guy.
He's looking a bit stiff.
You know what I mean? It's just like they slow him down, and they go again. Isak did it against Newcastle. Ruta did it against.
I love that Jay was saying, why is Porro playing? Exactly the hatred.
Right, that's what he's gallivanting as a false nine. And I know it's part of your wider point. You said it before, like he's better as a wider fullback. I get it. No, completely. I'm not.
Wait, Joe. You can't tell off Porro for gallivanting, but then let off Romero for gallivanting.
No, because Romero. Listen. Hey, listen. I know you guys are trying to call me on hypocrisy. Let me write my carefully worded alibi right now. Romero has made mistakes. Yeah, we are on day release at the Romero Praise Academy. We are not. It's not a good time to be a big Romero fan right now. You know, a lot. It's looking shaky. Like he's making mistakes, and people are saying our captain should do more. And I think for me, it actually points to a wider point we can circle back to, is that when I look at other teams, yeah, and I look at their top 2, 3, 4 players, right? I look at their players and I'm like, their players are moving the needle. You know, I go Newcastle, I see Gordon, I see Isak. I'm going Chelsea, I'm seeing Palmer. You know what I mean? I'm seeing the needle movers moving the needle. Do you know what I mean? Like junkies in some instances.
Mad.
Us, at the moment, our key players are playing like they are the 3rd and 4th and 5th most important players in the team. They're not playing like, oh, if you don't get this done, no one's getting it done. Like they're almost looking around just like, I wonder who's going to help us get over. And it's people like Brennan. It's people like baby Brennan.
You're moving crazy. Stop talking.
Don't you slander BJ.
Listen. No, wait. I've been quiet the whole show. I have to pull the rank. I've pulled rank now. Get the judge camera out. Order in the court. None of you don't watch the show last week. I don't think, because
he's like, you're not on the show and you didn't watch it. Fuck you.
You didn't watch the show last week.
I watched it for 5 minutes. I
know. I see you in the comments, bro, and then you were out. I could tell, bro. Because if you watched the show last week, I had screenshots. I had evidence. Yeah. When Bentancur, we played a 4-1-4-1. Yeah. 4 at the back, narrow. 1 in midfield, Bentancur. 4 being Werner, Maddison, Kulu and Johnson, and the one up top was Solanke, right? When we lost that ball, we were out of shape. But what happened was the doggy had to tuck in because Bentancur on Porro and Romero got dragged across because Estepina, who came on for their fullback, the Turkish youth, he came off. Estepina come on. Estepina was a lot more aggressive. So what essentially you had Matoma and Estepina higher up the pitch, almost on the same vertical line. So what happened when the ball was passed to Matoma, he took out Porro and he took out Romero instantly by beating him. There's nothing he could really do. The problem was Van der Ven got sucked into the middle, and then so did Udogi. He got pulled across. My issue was when you've got Bentancur playing in that middle role, playing as a lone single pivot, DM, whatever you want to call it. Not Van der Ven, Timo Werner has to do his job and protect the fullback if the fullback has come all the way into the centre back position. Do you understand? So that's where we were vulnerable. I know it was a mistake from Porro. I know it was a mistake from Romero. And I know it was a mistake from Mickey Van der Ven before it actually got to your doggy, who used
You
the
want to
wrong
blame Timo?
foot. Used the wrong foot. I know he used the wrong foot to clear it. He should have used his right foot. For some weird reason, he's gone for his left foot. But he's expecting Van der Ven to get there to block that shot. But the reason why I interjected wasn't because of that. Was because I wanted to play this bloody video. Yeah, it's about a different centre back, and the centre back is called Inacio. I've actually done a video on him before. I did a video on him last season, and this is before Mickey Van der Ven came in. He's a Sporting Lisbon player, and he plays as a left-sided centre back. He's actually 23 now. When I looked at him, he was like 21, 22, and he's at 6 foot plus. Obviously, Sporting Lisbon, their price is a bit crazy, but look, he plays left back. He can play left-sided centre back. He can play DM, and he's also played the right-sided centre back. So pretty much across the whole back line, apart from right back. Yeah, cool. Plays in a 3-4-3. There's his heat map. Covers a lot of area. You can see that on his map. He wins a lot of tackles. His tackles is basically his speciality. That's what he does well. He wins tackles. He wins the ball. I compared him to Mickey Van der Ven. I don't know why I cut it off there, but it's Mickey Van der Ven is on the other side. And this is SofaScore. SofaScore does the averaging of the data, so it gives them average score for the season. So on this one, it just shows that expected goals, blah blah blah. Assisted passes, we don't care about attacking metrics. I'm looking about defending. He's got higher interceptions than Mickey Van der Ven, more tackles than Mickey Van der Ven. And I'm not saying we need to replace Mickey Van der Ven because the argument was on Romero, right? But it's just a different option and a different option to a doggy because the argument was should Udogi be the main guy or should Udogi be learning off somebody? And if Ben Davies, my argument is Ben Davies is on his way out and he's got less than a season left on his contract and he's on his way out. And Reguilon's got less than a season left on his contract and he's on his way out. Maybe, just maybe, we could spend a little bit of money on that position and we kill two birds with one stone and we improve not just the left back, but the left-sided centre back to give competition to Mickey Van der Ven. Not saying that he's going to improve on Mickey Van der Ven, but again, we do pick up on those lateral movements where Mickey Van der Ven finds it hard to cover ground when you take him across.
But this is. Well, can I just say, like, just quickly, is that this is one of my issues that I have with, well, my concerns with Dragusin is like out of possession is like because it's like it almost seems in our formation you need to be an elite passer or an elite athlete, yeah, and like you can get away with one or the other. And when I look at Dragusin, he falls between the two of those things, but he's young, so I think he can develop. But I'm not sure our system is a system that can hide flaws. So when you're saying this now, and you've got like the Boskoviches coming through and stuff like that, I'd be really interested if where the club rank him. Obviously, I think Dragusin will have his spot and stuff, but I almost see whilst we're playing how we're playing, I almost see a natural limitation with Dragusin. And in the games it's not, to me, I don't think it's a coincidence that he played the Coventry game and we found it very difficult to progress the ball.
I I agree.
So,
I agree.
so
I'm looking
that's
at this player.
as you're showing this and looking at all that sort of stuff, it's just something like
Keep that in mind. I'm glad you brought that up. Keep that in mind whilst watching this video, because I'm sure some of those issues will be brought up whilst watching this. But yeah, here's some of his goal threats. Obviously, as a defender, tall defender, he's good in the air. You can see him. He's a bit of a problem as he comes in there. He's a goal threat, someone to aim at. Gets on the end of things. He's not afraid to get into the box and add his goal threat. But in possession, you can see here winning the ball, intercepting the ball, and then able to carry the ball into the midfield. I know Ben hates inverted, but you can see him inverted there, playing into that box. Very comfortable on the ball, beating two players there. Look at his legs, the ball runs across his body and then takes on the outside of his left foot and then passes it into body. Again, three players around him, no problem. Passes it into the centre back, intercepts the ball, carries it across on his left foot and is able to find a pass into the final third. And you even saw this with Brighton. Brighton have got a player in Van Heck, and he's able to do this as well. Doesn't always pass it. Sometimes you can carry it into dangerous areas. And I'll talk about into the wide space, into the half space. Here he is again with Portugal. Little cheeky flick over the foot and passes it in. Here as a left back is able to pull it up, calmly put the ball into possession again, inverting into that in that midfield. Both foot, left foot, right foot, doesn't matter. He's very comfortable on both, but predominantly left footed. You can see he's comfortable, able to just carry that ball forward, drag it forward. Look at little drag back, little pauser, and then puts on the outside there. Again, good first touch, puts into midfield. Is a very competent passer as well. And just, on a half turn, fakes it, goes the other way, gets the ball out. But here's some of his passing into the dangerous positions from defense, into midfield, over the top balls, into the wingers, another switch ball into the box. And so when I talk about competition and passing out from the back and progression, you're talking about Dragusin struggling for progression at some certain times. This is a player slightly older, is able to progress the ball, playing from deep, playing those balls into dangerous areas, finding those plays. Now here's his defending, something that Ben doesn't quite like, but I don't mind a player that's proactive and he gets on the ball and he kind of sees out the danger. Here he is holding up the play, delaying it, and then winning that challenge. Again, just shielding it, and then being physical, being strong there in that challenge. Last ditch challenge there, able to get across. But here he is, reads the danger, is able to snuff it out, gets on the ball, gets a good foot on it, and is able to help his team out in that dangerous area. And he does this like time and time again, where he just steps into almost like he steps into the midfield at times, and he's more proactive than reactive as a defender. And I always call it cat and dog. Sometimes you've got one defender that's like a dog, goes after everything. One's like a cat, and he kind of like sweeps up. And you've got the best of both. One that sweeps and one that goes out and initiates the actual defending. And I think this guy, he steps into that midfield role, the defender role, when he defends from high up. He's front-footed. Nothing wrong with that. He intercepts it and he sets the attack away. The thing with when you intercept that ball high up, you can really start those attacks from early on. And it doesn't allow the team to set into their shape and you catch them off guard. And that's another way of getting control of the game, because you're able to snuff out some of these challenges. But here you can see again, lots of interceptions, shapes his body, and he's got long legs. So he's able to get his legs around the body, to wrap his leg around the body and nick those challenges off. I think that's a good way to defend as well. And that's him, really. That's it, to be fair. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Is he predominantly a centre back or a left back?
Predominantly a centre back. Predominantly a centre back.
I mean, it's a similar profile to a player I was a massive fan of, and he eventually went to the losers down the road, which is Ricardo Calafiori. Is a similar profile, probably better on the ball than a Ricardo Calafiori, from what I've heard of this geezer. But of course, he's got those attributes which Ange Postecoglou prefers more, which is more athletic, better ball carrier. But with someone like a Calafiori, someone that floats into the centre-back position when we've got the ball to create the free, and that allows the right back to become more of an auxiliary forward. Just like the way like Jose Mourinho wanted to set us up with Serge Aurier, with Ben Davies becoming that. It's a good footballer. He's a good footballer, and that's all you can really say, really. Possibly what we need, and we definitely need another centre-back. Is without shadow of a doubt. Van der Ven is now that we are back to playing European games, and we would hope that we will be playing 60 games a year, because we hope that Tottenham are going to be in every single final, because that is the dream of every football fan. If we play upwards of 50 games a year, we are going to need, because Van der Ven has had 3 hamstring injuries in 5 years, something like that. So we are going to have to start protecting this boy's hammies. And yeah, it's the way we've got to go. But he looks a good footballer.
No, but that's my thing, and that's what I was asking earlier. And I know you guys are going to jump in a second, but my thing was: is it a leadership issue or is it a quality issue? Because actually, when you take out Ben Davies, I mean, some people will call him a leader. Do you know what I mean? He talks a lot on the pitch. He tells the midfielders what to do, etc., the fullbacks what to do, blah blah blah. Some people call him a leader. When it was in lockdown, he was the one that was most vocal. Most people could hear him. I'm not personally a fan of him on the ball as a footballer, inverting as well. I don't think he's as comfortable. And so I personally prefer to have quality as opposed to having, yes, you do need leadership, but when you got quality, you just don't lose the ball. Does that make sense? So when you're losing,
if you look,
you do have to have leadership. But I'm saying, if you've got the ball, like Pep would say, right? And this is the City kind of, we're trying to do the City type of ball. Let's face it, we're trying to do possession-based football. We're trying to do control in the opposition's half. And I'm saying for that type of football, you need technical players. And if you're getting rid of a Ben Davies and you're getting rid of a Serge Reguilon, and you've got a player that can play across the back line, you can fit him in and you can save your wages from your Ben Davies, your Reguilon, and improve it on this 23-year-old, fit him into the squad. He used to play with Porro. He was around when Porro was around because I was looking at him then. I was watching him closely then. So I was thinking, yeah, maybe, just maybe, if we get more quality players in and around our squad, that adds more value, more competition. And so, like you said before, Van der Ven, his hamstrings, you might be able to give him a rest. And all of a sudden, the quality doesn't drop against a Coventry when we go in a League Cup, or it doesn't drop for you in a Carabag. We can actually bring those type of players in, and it raises the levels. In my opinion, I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but yeah, this is how I see it.
The logic's good from a squad building point of view. I think our biggest issue has been the lack of quality coming from the academy over the last few years, which puts us in a registration pickle with Europe. And we kind of, I completely see it. I think the thing is that sometimes if you can't find the exact quality you're looking for, I watch your shows sometimes, Ash, and I'm like you make it seem very obvious. I'm not trying to say that you're the king of low hanging fruit. It's just okay, just let this player get up. But I'm saying that like when you break it down, you know, these players who are these data people and scouts who are getting paid a good amount of money to do this, you'd like to think that, you know, they'd be able to present the logic behind making transfers. And I think for me, one of the big things about Lang.
Wait, Jade, sorry to interject. Are you basically worried that Ash is better than us?
Yeah, no, you know, and it's a huge worry because I like Ash, but I don't like him that much to think he's better than our scouts. So the point,
got to bring back Fabio Paratici.
I don't seriously. Like,
that's a good point. Lang versus Paratici.
That's the exact point I was going to go to. With Lang, I feel like when you look at data, it's like the curse of knowledge. I say it's the curse of knowledge. Let's say you ever wanted to do a startup or you had an idea that you wanted to do something, and then you start looking at all the things that could go wrong with it, and then you end up not doing it. Sometimes I think Johan Lang is like that. Yeah, it's like when you have too many data points and too much knowledge, you then are pushed into inaction. Whereas Paratici's more like, let's, you know, Italian Del Boy, let's fucking have it. Do you know what I mean? But to me, that means that as your team progresses, you're going to have a ceiling because it's not been put together super analytically. But that won't change the fact that when we were Gabbanini and Paratici, we were all vibing. We were just buying. If you were like 20 to 40 million and you were just technically good at football, we're interested, mate. We're interested. That to me is one of those things where...
Is it the scouting department or is it a change of philosophy? Because when Paratici and Gabbiadini were there, they didn't have Scott Mann above them. So maybe Johan Lang is receiving the... Look at the team he's built with Unai Emery. Look how good they are.
But the thing is as well is that some of those players needed time. You know, when he bought Duran, so I'm like, right, 2 and a bit years. Because I looked at when he bought Duran to when Duran started looking like say his name twice kind of level. I'm like, that's a good barometer. That took 2 years. So I'm like, these youngsters, these 18, okay, 2 years, they need 2 years before I'm going to see them to be like needle movers. So then you've got a logical argument from the fan base of saying, well, why is Ange saying he wants to win trophies and we're buying kids? That to me is a logical argument, question, discussion. There's a gap between what we're being told and what we're being presented.
Yeah.
No issue with that. But the club has to manage expectations in the fan base if they're going to do that. Because
100%.
It's a lack of
if you can
transparency.
buy players who can deliver straight away, then you are setting the manager up to fail. But I can see that these players aren't ready. I'm not sure the whole fan base can see that. And I think there's certain things that can be attributed to players' development that are being put on Ange's. And Ange's being a good team guy. He's not doing what Conte did. He's not doing what Mourinho did. He's not doing what Poch did. I hope it doesn't cost him his job in the long term or anything like that. But I'm just saying, I can see the difference. I can clearly see the difference.
Manager. Is he a project manager?
No,
I think he can be, but doesn't mean that he has been as much. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like Kof made a great point. He's only done 3 years so far. That's my point. These things are meant to change. Doesn't mean that he's definitively going to change it, but it means it's on the table for us to make changes within that. But we all need to. We need him to change our mentality, and he needs to understand that this is the Premier League. Same concept when Paratici had his first transfer window here, and he brought us Brian Gill and Emerson. You underestimated this league. Do you know what I mean? So it took you. I'm not saying Ange underestimated the league, but I'm saying it took City, who had unlimited money,
I think Brian Hill was actually a pre-Paratici signing, from what I remember. Brian Hill was a pre-Paratici signing.
No. It was the same window.
Paratici was there, but the deal was already signed the year before for him to come in. So I think Brian Hill, because he was signed at the Olympics, and that was that whole argument of why are we not signing Tomiyasu when he's at the because
okay.
Brian Emerson Royale, absolutely a Paratici signing, Italian style right back or crap style right back, which is why he's out the door.
Oi, leave Royale alone.
All right, that's what I'm saying, man.
But you're right.
No, just on that point, because the last thing I was going to say was when we look at those players, right, and we look at what the club did, and we look at the overview, then these players now, I'm looking at the players and the club to develop, and this is where, going back to your wider point about strategy of the club versus what we're seeing. So I can separate. The club has a strategy of what it's trying to achieve with why are these players right now at this persistent moment not able to deliver a super high, consistent level of performance on a weekly basis. I can distinguish between that, but I appreciate the fans who are unhappy if they pay X amount of money that they're seeing a project. But I'm also like, how else are we going to get there? Because if you look at Pep, he had unlimited money and he's the greatest manager of all time. And it still took him 1 year plus to embed his philosophy and go out and buy 50 million fullbacks and blah, blah, blah. So if it took him 1 year, we don't have the greatest manager of all time and we don't have unlimited money. So how long is a feasible amount of time for that to be instilled? For me, it's 3 years. Like, it should take us 3/4 times as long as it took City, considering we don't have unlimited money and we don't have a manager.
Can I give you a light caveat before we go on? Because there's other areas I want to look at.
I also have to have a light caveat before I go. Adding to Jay's point, I'm happy even paying my prices if the club come out and tell me this is a project and provide a project. I'm like, you've told me the truth, guys. I cannot complain at all. If the manager is telling me we're challenging for the league next year, and then the club is giving him actually players I really quite like in Gray, in Bergvall. I like these young players. I think they're good young players. But there is a transparency issue. If they tell us we're going to do this, and this we all the cards are on the table, and you can say you've told me the truth. I like the truth, because then we can say I might not fully like it, but you've told me what you're going to do. You've told me
But
what you're going to do, and
didn't
then
Lange-
and when we can build from there, we can build trust. There's trust that when it does eventually work, you can say we trusted each other. There is a as Jay said, there is a massive gulf between what Ange is telling us and from what Scott Munn, Lang, Mackenzie, what they're giving him. There is because at the end of the day, Ange is a win now manager. We might think he's a win now manager. Jay said he comes in, he wins everything, he leaves on his third season. Goodbye, on to the next project. That's what he does. So if they say we're giving you a project and they give in a project, young players, building with the manager's going to be here 7-8 years, and we're going to stick with this manager, rain, shine, snow, or possibly go into McDonald's once in a while. But it's just trust, a trust in what you building trust between the fan base and having everything so everyone's actually on board, because you've got a disconnect between the fact because actually no one understands what's going on, because you've got this guy pulling this. There needs to be, everyone's got to be saying the same. We've all got to start singing from the same hymn sheet, and that would be really helpful for everyone. That would be really helpful.
From
Yeah,
what
but Ben, we're Spurs. We can't sing from the same hymn sheet, mate. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
There's
we
got
might
to
have
be.
family at a Friday night dinner. Someone throws a chair. My mum
Exactly.
wants chicken soup. My dad wants pizza. This one wants that one. That is the problem with the Spurs. We need someone to come in, bang a pot on the table. We're having spag bowl, mate. Deal with it. That's what we need, and we need to have a consistent all singing from the same hymn sheet, because that's what we need. Transparency.
when I
Ash,
heard
can I
Lang,
ask a question?
go on.
Your guy Ignacio, I love what you showed. I think it would be an amazing sign in terms of the quality. And one thing I wanted to ask you was, what is his pace like? But I also, to your point about leadership, I'd always take a techie baller, because you never know, they might grow into a leadership situation. But also, I almost see intrinsically there is a bit of leadership when because you're taking ownership and you're trying to nick that ball in the way he was, and he's being successful in, obviously in all those clips, it's him being successful at it, but driving forward, trying to get the ball forward, trying to drive the team up the field. You know, that's leadership on the pitch with what you're doing with the ball for me. So yeah, bring him in, mate.
Yeah, I think in terms of pace, he's no slow coach, but he's no Vicky van der Ven. I mean, who is Mickey van der Ven?
Yeah,
I mean,
No one.
Who is
no
Mickey
one,
van der Ven?
No one. Not even Usain Bolt is Mickey van der Ven playing centre back.
I'm just trying to profile.
Christ, Sava. But I do actually need to go. I need to go. But thanks for having me
Oh,
on.
man,
No, go! One more video to show you.
Bro,
No,
it's been nice. It's been bro. You misrepresented yourself earlier. You're not that. You're not that sad. You know,
He's
annoying.
not angry.
Like this is normal. There's no purple and gold. You're not part of Lakers Twitter. You're fine. You're calm.
I started the purple and gold.
Oh, Jesus, I've got my purple and gold scarf here.
I love the Lakers growing up as well, mate. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Big
got my
up
latest
LeBron
tip on
James.
Hey, I'll bring it back on.
Ash, before you move on, Cough, you gone? You there? Is it there?
I've got to go. I've got
Right,
to
cool.
go.
Thank you, Cough.
It's been
Thank
good.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
having me as always. Love you all. Always a great chat. And we'll see you in a bit. Ciao for now.
Ash, before you move on, because
Yes.
we've had a super chat, and I want
Yes.
everyone to, because it's currently what we're talking about now. Actually,
It's not a super chat. It's a mega chat because
it's a mega chat, and like,
Really?
and I,
I
bro,
can't-
this guy,
mad.
mad
That's
love.
sponsorship.
Mate, do you know what? For how big the super chat is, he's just bought the channel. It is now.
Yeah.
Takeover.
That's that Ryan Reynolds Wrexham money coming into the chat, isn't it?
Hey, it's crazy.
Oh, this is like The Wire, isn't it? Jay's talking about moving needles. You know, he's moving up Marlon Stamp. You know,
That's like he's
big ticket.
Hilarious. That's funny.
Do you think he put an extra
yeah,
zero in it by
read it out,
accident?
bro. Read it out. Read it out.
Mistype that.
So yeah, sorry, because I've got like so many things up on my screen. So the question was project. Project would suggest playing young players to build a team and grow together. Instead, same 11 as last year, other than Solanke. Project question mark. Why can't we be honest? Project means cheap signings on low wages. Project masks the lack of ambition. Go on,
Okay.
Ash.
Let me try and dissect this one.
Yeah.
Cool. So, like,
And first of all, Sava, thank
first
you.
fan or was it?
It's like, really. And also, if you haven't seen, the Koff has put his channel in the chat as well. So please go over there and hit and subscribe. Why I sort out why I can't get rid of him off our screen.
You know what? It's techie because when I saw Lange come out, he basically was trying to tell the fans, like literally as the
Patient,
window
kind of.
ended,
Yeah.
like he's trying to sign young players that can also go into the first team squads and can have an impact now. Now, whether we agree if those players are of that level, of that ilk, that's a completely different debate. Now, some people will say Archie Gray is going to be the next big thing. Do you know what I'm saying? He's going to be the man to help our midfield. He's going to be a six, even though we played him at right back, centre back, left back. Do you know what I mean? I said it last week. The reason why we're doing that, I think, is to get an understanding for a young player. If you play in a right back, centre back, left back, that's helping them to develop. Do you know what I'm saying? It's helping them to develop. As a midfielder, it's good to see how to play as a centre back from that position, so you can understand where to be in a position, what to expect them, blah 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 blah. Same with the fullback, same with the left back. So that's the reason why we're playing him there. We're trying to develop him as a player, but is he ready now to jump into the actual squad and make an impact? I'm not too sure. I'll be honest with you, because when I did see him in the friendly and he did play as a number 6 or he played as a DM, he didn't have that physicality for me. I know in the FA Cup against Chelsea, he body Casado in the FA Cup. He was like a different player, but was that big enough sample size for me to judge him coming into a Spurs team to take the armband off Bentancur or Basuma? I've got my question marks. You know what I mean? You've got Bergvall, who looked very promising in the preseason, and when it came to Manchester United, and he got taken off at Karabakh because we went down to 10 men. Basically, at Man United, he wanted to prove he was that guy. Kind of like did too much. Like, bro, you're doing the most, and he kind of overcooked it, and that showed his inexperience, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? And then the following game he had in Europa wasn't really impacting the game that you would expect from like maybe a Maddison. Maddison can dictate a bit different to what Bergvall does, and you're now seeing it, in my opinion. So is he another guy that can put Maddison on the bench for now? I'm not too sure. Maybe in seasons to come, yeah, maybe. But Lance said, I'm looking to bring players in that can make the difference now. Do you know what I'm saying? And still be young. And I'm not sure he's really addressed that. And even when it comes to the wingers, and I'm going to bring a player up now, in fact. I'm looking at Odobert, and yes, he had a season in the Premier League. Doesn't look bad, but is he that guy? And Jay's been talking about needles, crackheads. Heroin users. And Phil P's been talking about the wire. Big up Football Heritage for this chat. £50. I think it meant to be £5, and now he's realizing, oh shit, I've put a couple knots by mistake. But I'm looking at this winger here now, and I'm thinking, should we go in for this guy? Now, this guy, his name is Fulcrick. I don't know if I pronounced that right. 22 million on transfer market. So add like 10 to 15 million on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So 10 to 15 million, you call it what, 35, 37 million? You know what I'm saying? If we get rid of Werner, obviously cut his transfer loan deal early. I don't know if that's allowed, but I would do it if that was possible. 6 foot. He's a German international, current German international at that as well. 26 years old, so he's not a baby. He's going to be a senior player. Predominantly plays on the left wing, and people are talking about Son. Do we need an heir to Son? It's a question. Son should have competition regardless. can play and has played as a second striker and has played on the right wing. So that will give competition across the whole of the front three, including Brennan Johnson as well. Here I can see that's his contract runs out in 2028, plays in a 4-2-3-1 heat map, predominantly on the left hand side, and you can see on his FB ref that he's predominantly if I can take it back a bit, he's predominantly strong on his actual winging, his successful take-ons. So if he's looking at successful take-ons, his carries, that's where he kind of excels. So pass completion is also high, so he's a good passer of the ball. Hence why he could play as a second striker, which means he could play maybe just off Dom Solanke. I always look at progressive passes received because I feel like if you've got a good first touch in that final third, you're not going to lose it and you're going to keep the pressure on the opposition. So I always look at that metric as well. Shot creation actions are in the right place as well. So you're going to help your teammates in that position. I put him against Sancho, Kubo, Gordon, Madueke, Callum Hudson-Odoi. These are his minutes for 90 for this season. Hasn't had many minutes. So that may affect his metrics on this particular FBref score against him. But nonetheless, shots on target, regardless, he's got more than Sancho and Gordon, even though he's had less minutes than them. On to the next stat, shot creation actions, he's top. So that's saying a lot. Too generous now. Whoops a daisy, sorry Marlon. I thought it was muted. I thought I muted the thing. How do I mute this? Let me mute that quick. My bad, Marlon. My bad. Shit. All right, cool. Let me carry on. So,
Davis.
Amateurs, isn't it? Amateurs. First time finish there, gets the ball out of his feet, boom from distance, top bins, left foot, boom, weaker foot, finishes. First time on the right foot, able to finish a composure, not like a Timo Werner that people have been defending. Successful. This is last season's against Kubo, Dodson, Semenyo, Sancho. Touches received really good. Here's his touch. What's his touch like? Where's his touch? There you go. Puts in the outside, beats him down the line. Again, goes on the outside. Can he go on the inside? Yes, he can. So he can go either way, guys. Can go on the inside, can go on the outside. Techie baller. You want someone to be able to be confident, can travel with both feet. So left foot, right foot when he's actually dribbling at speed, running at players, dropping the shoulder. And again, he's able to cut back, do little chops with a foot inside the midfield, running direct, getting the byline, taking his players on. And we need another profile other than Odegaard that has attributes like this. Other like Son, Johnson, Werner, they're all direct wingers or direct wide forwards, inside forwards. But I feel this guy is more of a natural take your man on, one-on-one demon, some people call it. And that's just what he provides on this one. Here he is running centrally, taking players on. Here he is again on the outside. First touch, little link play here. 1-2, little triangles coming in. And that's what I feel is missing sometimes. As someone that can mix it up, it's not always going to go on the outside, someone inside. Sometimes he can mix it up, can link play, good in possession, can be a threat, unpredictability, really quick. You can see he's really fast, taking 2 or 3 players on at a time. And he's playing in one of the top 5 leagues as well. So it's not like he's playing
it reminds me of Schürrle.
It does remind me exactly what I said when I watched it. I said, Schürrle. It reminds me of Schürrle.
Yeah.
You might not like that.
Got a little bit better balance to him than Schürrle, I think.
He just looks like privately educated Timo Werner. I'm not gonna lie.
The thinking man's Werner.
I love that. I love the thinking man's Werner. Let me bring it back a bit because I wanted to look at crosses and through balls because I love a through ball. I think here it is. Where's it coming here? Here it is. So long balls here for this season, not bad at all. So he's got a good long ball on him, and he does utilize that. On this metric here, this is from last season's metrics. I thought it'd be a bit more accurate. He's second just to Kubo on crosses, so he can cross the ball. He's a decent crosser of the ball. And then here, through balls is what I want to mention. Top guy for through balls. Through balls are very important to me because that's how you split a team open. You can pass in between the midfield line of defense and obviously the defense line. And so I think that's helpful when attacking. And then also expected assists. If you like expected assists, he's top on that one as well. But let's actually look at it in videos as well. So you've got the metrics, the units, but then you've also got the eye test as well, the switch of play, open up the pitch. First time ball, dink over the top. It's a little bit different to Schürrle or Werner in that case. Little through ball again, ball over the top, first time. Look at the switch of play, breaking up deep lying blocks, low blocks, able to switch the play, stretch it again, gets to the outside of the box, able to cross the ball in.
Good way to pass, hasn't he?
Good way to pass, bro. Look at that through ball. And again, little cross here. Turn off, he turns around, cuts back in, get to the byline, crosses it back again. Is that me that's doing that? Like, yeah, good first touch, able to put it on the floor for his teammate. And you know Ange loves a ball across the box like this. You know Ange loves that. A little ball into the box, cuts back in, finds the ball. And yeah, for me, I would say, let's look at this kid. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at this guy. Last season, 8 goals and 7 assists, 15 goal contributions. So, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. And I don't know.
Jay, would you be worried if the government changed the VAT situation with private schools that this guy would be against coming to
at this moment in time? I'm really concerned about this player's ability to, you know, deal with the changing impending Labour government and VAT status. So for that reason alone, I'm gonna say I knew you were on
the Dragons Den. I'm out.
Yeah, it's not Dragons Den, but for that reason, I'm out. Thank you. Appreciate your learned contribution.
This one.
And he's an international student, so it might be.
Yeah. Listen, just think about those fees. Levy is not having those fees. Please.
I look at Stuttgart and I think, look, we could get him. Like Stuttgart's not like.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're buying.
Is he sexy enough for the fan base? He's not sexy enough for the fan. They're gonna watch him play once and be like, "This guy is a bum." That's what they're gonna say.
Jay, we bring in all sorts of scrubs.
2 foot.
All sorts of scrubs.
No scrubs, bro. No pigeons out here. No pigeons.
Listen, he's a good.
Shout out left side.
He's probably better than a Richarlison on the left, no?
Yeah, now listen, Richie's not bad. The thing is that we've not even had a chance to see Richie and Solanke together. We've not even seen them play once together.
I'm talking about on the left. I'm saying on the left.
There's different kinds of left wingers, isn't there?
The only way Richarlison and Solanke are playing together is if they have some sort of, you know, if they have the same fancy dress outfit that Christmas do. Do you know what I mean?
I get
like the front of the horse and the back of the horse or something.
I get it. Like, I'm looking at some of these names, and to me, I think we have to buy a good winger next summer. Like, there's like, even me who makes excuses. Like, I make excuses for the club all the time. Yeah. But even me, I'm like, listen.
It's gonna be epic.
No. This is the point. I always try to make the point is like, you guys, you all chop it up. You're like the board, the transfer committee, the this, and the, I'm like, it's Tottenham. It's Tottenham. No, Tottenham did X.
Oh, so you blame the whole thing, Jay.
We're one entity to me. I'm like, Tottenham did this, Tottenham did that. I'm defending Tottenham. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, I can't, like, we need ballers in our attack. Like, we need
is it leaders or is it ballers?
You know, we need ballers and needle movers. Like, do you know what I mean?
Ballers, bro.
Heroin gang, where we at? We need those needles.
It's quality, bro. It's quality. It's tech.
Well, that's the problem. Listen, like, listen. If you can bring me aesthetics and stats, I'm there. You people tried to bring me Bakayoko last summer. I said, stop it. Yeah, like they tried to bring me back. All the people in the summer. That's why we should do a show where we all take the players that we wanted in the summer and lay them out 6 months later and see how much of a financial black hole Tottenham would have been in if we bought them.
We don't know about Bakayoko because he's not in the Premier. He's still in Everton.
But Jay, you know what this is, and we're Spurs fans. Yeah. We're like someone who's, you know, been thirsty in the desert for so long. The first drink someone puts in front of us, we're necking it. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's the cup of warm urine.
This is what I'm saying. Like, as in, you're absolutely right. My thing is like, just because you're thirsty, don't drink poison. But I will drink toilet water. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we got to be clear. Like, as in, like, if I'm dying of thirst,
toilet water's got to be clear.
Jay. To be fair, though, to be fair, the first signing of the summer was Timo Werner on loan. I think any of us were going to drink anything after that.
Okay, well, that's some of your finest bottled toilet water there. Please, Marlon, please have some respect. No, listen, I think we're getting to a point where you can be too clever, yeah. And me,
not around here.
That's what obviously we're nincompoops around here. But I mean, like in general, right? You can say, right, I can listen. I always say, you give people enough time and data, they could probably prove that pigeons are racist. You know what I mean? You give people enough data and time, they can do anything. You give me enough time, I can look at any transfer Spurs make and see a positive slant to it. I don't want to be spending 20, 30 minutes trying to find angles for why a player should be playing for our club. Sometimes it can be a little simpler. Sometimes it can be very A plus B. Do you know what I mean? Just give me a top quality player.
A nuanced version of the Danny Rose. I don't want to have to Google this. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but the problem is that. But then they bring me back in with these random names like that Dibbing at Southampton. I'm like, okay, we could try a thing. And we're right back at.
It was all right, you know, when I watched.
That's my point. The problem with fans.
Listen, I'm going to throw a name out from not this summer, but last summer. Gift Orban.
Gift Orban. Wow. People were talking like he was a gift from God. That's how they were talking about Gift Orban, like he was a present from Jesus Christ himself. Yeah. 1 year later, linked to Sunderland, absolute tumbleweed. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask a question? Because this is going to be a free agent next season, and I want to talk about West Ham real quick before we end the show. Just real quick, West Ham. But would you not? Because I was going to bring the video up earlier, but everyone was talking so much. The flow was so much. I had a video on
Angel Gomez,
a certain Angel Gomez, and he's a free transfer. I know he's an ex-United boy, but I was talking about control, and I was talking about quality. And I'm pretty sure most people have seen him because obviously they've seen England without him and they saw him with him and saw what he did with Grealish, that kind of reverse pass, open up with, you know, like a through ball. Do you not think that could help that control issue?
I see Arteta building a team of monsters, actual wildebeests. A team of 6'2", Aryan race motherfuckers.
I hear it.
And you want to buy Angel Gomez to compete?
No, it's free agent. He's a free agent.
Yes.
But no, I'm asking the question.
Yeah, but Jay's looking for free agents that can help us.
Yeah, listen.
We've got to take back these corners.
Is he good enough to offset his lack of physical ability in the Premier League? That's the question I'm asking you.
Ash, a quick question on that, because you just mentioned a player that obviously we saw them play well for England.
Yeah.
Could it be a question that Jack Grealish becomes available at some point?
Oh God, bring him in.
Oh.
So could you not bring both of them in if their connection is that well inclined together? Maybe you can get rid of that physicality part if a Jack Grealish does become available next summer.
I mean, look, if we've got, because Gomez is creating from deep. You know what I'm saying? Which allows.
But that's also a question for the chat. Do we think Spurs could go for a Jack Grealish and bring him in if he does suddenly become available?
I'd love that.
Oh yeah, that's don't tease me with some time, Marlon.
You know,
no Grealish and Madison,
great club, but
Grealish and Madison, the nightclubs in London will be finished.
Get the pints out now. Get the.
Yeah, but no. But in all
seriousness, lads.
In all seriousness, like if you think
the darts alley pally will be flying, lads. It'll be flying that December.
You could, if you have two quality, you could take James Maddison out. You got the Thursday, Sunday, and you could rotate it, and they're still probably both going to end up playing at least 38 games in a season.
If you could end up, Marlon. If me and you were running the club, bro.
Oh my God!
California would have been here.
Oh my God! Moneyball.com.
To be fair though, Ash, there has been a lot of crap. We've done a lot of, you know. Give all bad was one of them we looked at.
There's been some howlers. Let's not get twisted. There's some howlers. But there's been a lot of quality too, man. There's been a lot of quality, man. Like,
look, guys, I think there's a lot.
We look like West Ham if you guys were running our fucking transfers.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
Bring Somerville in. Oh yeah, bring Churchy in. Fuck off.
Nah, I don't know. Like I think there's somewhere I've looked at players and Marlon's like, Ash, come on, man. Like my head's been in the clouds. Like, I'm the dreamer. Do you know what I mean? Like the two of us. I was looking at players like, raw. If we get a Rafinha,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
but Ash, this is the
Save
thing.
yourself.
Ash, remember last summer, I was like, Rafinha's my number one option, and people were looking at me kind of funny, and now they're seeing him style and dazzle at Barcelona. Quality is quality. Like, the quality players are quality players.
Yeah, but I
People
think
like Grealish, he's a quality player, top tier quality player. You wonder about our team not having pausers, or you can buy a Grealish and he just fixes it. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes one player can just come in and fix it. And looking at these players, I just, this is my problem sometimes with not Lang, but just some of these transfers. They seem too precise. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've looked at the data and Timo's come. If the answer's Timo Werner, then what is the question that you put into the machine for the answer to be Timo Werner? Do you know what I mean? And that's where you start looking at data kind of funny, and it's kind of coming like iRobot, and you think the data is trying to kill me. And
Like, what it is? I think they went profile heavy. I think they went too profile heavy.
Yeah.
And looked at the data got skewed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I told you before, like what I was saying before, where it's like you can look at data too long, and then all of a sudden, you start seeing things that aren't there, and it's like, oh, Timo can do this, and they can do that, and he can do this, but that tangible of scoring goals or just connecting cleanly with the ball on a consistent basis, if you lack that, then it's going to be very, very difficult to overcome that. And that's my issue with Spurs are bringing in highly technical players that they think have sky high ceilings, but they still also need to bring in those players that can join the first team and add value now. And I think if we lack those profiles, we're asking the young men to grow very, very quickly. Pause. And in that instance, I know. Yeah,
Even Jay don't know what to do with this one below. He's like, what the hell?
About that. Yeah, but you get where I'm coming from, guys.
Yeah.
I think
Spurs Kings After Dark.
I think everyone broadly thinks the same, but we just have slightly different levels of tone of voicing it. That's what I think about this kind of thing.
But listen, the thing about Grealish, though, for me, guys, and I think it was a point that I think Sava made in the chat earlier. If you look at the money that we spend as Spurs, it's up there, right? If you look at the pound and pence value that we're spending in terms of transfer window, it's up there. But actually, our wage bill's going the other direction. And that's because we are investing in, whether you want to call it Project Youth or you're trying to bring it, as Lange said, trying to become like the place where all the best talent wants to come. And I'm presuming he means young talent by that. But if you were to, to your point, Jay, if you were going to bring in the one player that's going to knit that together, that might be a Grealish, someone on that level, right, with that type of tech and that type of swagger about him, it could make all the difference. Yeah. But you're going to have to go, and this is a technical term, balls deep in terms of wages to bring them in. Yeah. And then does it skew the model? Does it break it?
It kills the model straight away, because as soon as you bring in a Grealish on 200 plus a week, then you've got to do everyone's contract renewals. And then when everyone's contract comes up, then all of a sudden Mickey goes from 60 grand to 160 grand. So basically, I don't mind the wage bill being cheap now, because I know the wage bill naturally goes up as a consequence of the players playing well. But you can also get the situation like, see, Arsenal didn't bring in Rice and Havertz until they had an establishment of these players and they'd done X level of renewals. Because as soon as you start bringing those players in, you bring a player in at 200 grand, and now it's like, okay, so who's the best player in the... Oh, Romero needs a renewal. You might know, okay, that's 180. So now you got 10 million time, and people will be like, that's what you need to do to be a good club. And I agree. But things need to be done step by step, because otherwise you want to do it smart. You see how Liverpool have people like Trent who've been on fucking whatever he's been on for 5 years, because it's all about timing. I don't begrudge the club trying to save a little bit of money and do things in the right timing. What I concern myself with is that if you bring, I have no issue with the club buying anybody, none at all. Yeah, but I also understand that if you want to do it systematically, you need to then pick up the Ramseys, the Gallaghers, the stuff. Do you know what I mean? You have to buy established Premier League talent for cheap prices when you can. If you're not going to go out and buy the top level talent at 200, Eze was available, yeah,
Mm,
and we looked at that and we said, nah, not for us. And I have no
mm.
issue with the club saying that's a bit rich because no one else pulled the trigger. But then if you, and same with Neto, you can be like, oh, we didn't get. It's one of those, but when you then end up with your Werners and Odebears, and then you still want to say that you want to challenge for the league, it's incompatible to me. It's just too, and I'm a
Well, this is
logical
the
man.
issue, though,
It's too
Jay,
inconsistent,
isn't
my
it?
friend.
The difficulty is, right, you've got Werner there, and as much as you can say, oh, he's just a squad player, good utility, and of course he is, best will in the world, he's a third choice left wing, right? If Son was playing or if Wilson's fit, the guy's not getting minutes. But because he's in the squad, he's getting game time because these other guys are injured. And this is the problem. If you bring people in just for filler and not for thriller,
Ooh. Is that Michael Jackson or is that the Mason Mount celebration?
this as long as it's not Diddy, mate, we're all good, yeah?
Yeah, well, all right, listen, on that note,
Sponsored by Johnson &
Uh,
Johnson's baby oil.
yeah, less of that Diddy juice, man. Yeah, I
Oh
want to talk about
wow.
West Ham. I want to talk about West Ham.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Okay.
And I just, yeah, I've got a tactics board up. I don't know why. I just felt
Okay, I like it.
I just felt like bringing it up. I thought it was a bit different. We're talking about West Ham. Why
Yes.
not? I can envision this would be their lineup. With
It's
Ariola.
Somerville. It's Somerville. Have you got Somerville in this?
No, so I left them out because I thought they will go with Antonio up front as the guy that kind of drops in at times. So he drops off the two centre backs and he lays it off and does simple passes into a Kudos, who maybe invert a little bit more. So their wings will invert in here. Bowen will invert in here, I believe. Suchek will play a little bit closer with Paqueta, playing slightly off him. So then I think Wan-Bissaka hugs the touchline, and I think Emerson hugs the touchline.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the threat down the sides that Lopetegui wants to do potentially. So a bit like what Brighton did, they had two guys on the wing causing players to come across, creating gaps when that happens. So that pulls us across. Similar thing what I was talking about. And if like Werner, I've got Werner there. I know he might not start. Some might probably start. But if Werner doesn't come back and Johnson doesn't help out and leaves Emerson there, then that's what could happen again. And then all of a sudden, you've got this space. You've got the space right here. And that could be an issue going forward if we're getting pulled apart. So if I could just highlight, I don't know if I can make this. I don't know if you can see this. This space here could be an issue.
You playing Kudos left wing here?
So I've got Kudus left wing here, yeah. So Kudus left wing. Well, they can interchange. Bowen could be in the left wing. That's all right. And you can have Kudus on the right wing.
So if they're smart, they should play because this is the thing with West Ham and stuff. It's like I think West Ham were one of those teams where the players they have players that get the benefit of being under the top 6 radar, but get the praise because people don't watch them every week. Do you know what I mean? So they've got a lot of players like that. A lot of players like the Paquetas, the Kudoses, Bowen. All these players, actually, to be fair, Bowen's the most consistent out of all of those players. So, but yeah, I'm looking at this and yeah, they could set up in a number of different ways. They still got Somerville as well.
I see Suchek being like the box of box out of the two.
Yeah.
Paqueta, he's going to be able to pass. He's going to be the deep he's going to be able to spread the play, find players in different pockets in the half spaces, etc. So he's going to be, and then Rodriguez, I think he was a problem against Chelsea. I think Lopetegui, he killed him because I think Rodriguez didn't have the legs to deal with Palmer or Enzo Fernandez. Oh, sorry, Jackson. Sorry, because Jackson with Solanke. Let's say Jackson's there. he was running them ragged by just running out here, and Rodriguez never had the legs to follow him. And then on the left hand side, Jackson was followed by who was on their left? No, it wasn't matter. He was I forget who was on their left.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he was pulling Rodriguez out of position, and then that's how they were able to get in.
Was it Sterling?
No, it wasn't Sterling. No, Chelsea, not Arsenal, Chelsea.
Oh, cool.
Chelsea when they
Jesus.
played West Ham. Yeah, Chelsea when they played West Ham.
He's
I
gone.
don't think it was Madueke was on the right, and on the left was it Sancho? Yeah, Sancho.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sancho was kind of floating, and Jackson would run into this channel here as he kind of floated. But Werner doesn't do that. Werner will hug the touchline more, and you expect Solanke to drop in and cause Rodriguez all sorts of problems. Do you know what I mean? But saying that, going back to West Ham, they do have other options off the bench, and they could bring on if he's suffering. They've got Antonio. Is it not Antonio? They've got another midfielder. I forget who it is. That could cause a bit more trouble if Rodriguez is struggling in that zone. I forget who their other DM is, but I think Souček will be in there to help provide cover for Rodriguez because he's box to box. So sometimes they will turn into a double pivot where Souček will have defensive responsibilities to stop Spurs overloading that midfield because Kulu and Maddison, they're potentially 2 10s or /8s, and they're going to want to get forward and drag players out of position. And Wan-Bissaka's going to have to help back. If Brennan Johnson's on his game, Emerson has to pull back again. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden there's space in the midfield. And I know Ben wasn't happy with the inversions, but when you've got inversions of a doggy in there and Porro hugging wide, that's given us more midfielder, the midfield superiority. So we've got now 5 players in that midfield area, and we're outnumbering Souček, we're outnumbering Paqueta, and we're outnumbering Rodriguez in that area. So we could dominate them in that pitch. And we all know games are won in the midfield battle. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think if Indogi does invert, obviously Porro goes wide, but if Porro inverts, then the doggy pulls over in this position here. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's down to Werner to protect the doggy at times because he didn't do that too well in the last game. He needs to get back, and it's down to Brendan Johnson to get back. So sometimes Spurs, if need be, and Bowen's coming for us, we need to play in a back 6 at times, I believe. Off the ball, I mean, like if we lose it. So Werner tucks in, helps in, Johnson tucks in when we lose the ball. So it makes it difficult for them. And I don't think we did that well in our last game. Werner wasn't getting back. And if Werner's not doing well or Son's not doing well or not helping out, take him off and put another midfielder in here to help a Bentancur out. So he's not by himself and we've got more protection centrally. Spurs typically play a 4-4-2 when we're out of possession. So we normally look like that. Do you know what I mean? With Solanke and Kulusevski, or sometimes it's Johnson being the second striker and Kulusevski, we're relying on that 4-4-2 and we're more narrow. And that's what we're meant to look at. And
Ash, what's your take on Johnson defensively? Has he improved at all in the last few weeks?
The last game was poor, but generally he has been better. But he was getting a bit too tight to his fullback, and the fullback was able to turn him and get in behind. So he wasn't being smart and standing off his man and using his pace to get back and help out the back line. And that was the biggest issue for me. The wide players are not helping out the fullbacks, and the fullbacks are getting dragged too far across, which means the centre backs are getting dragged across as well. And then you're seeing a doggy in a centre back position where he shouldn't be. And then there's a space there where we're vulnerable because Kudos is quality. Do you know what I'm saying? In this area, if he gets pulled across and he's asked to be narrow, then Kudos can cause damage right there. Do you know what I'm saying? So we just need to be a bit more disciplined, and the wide players need to do their job in helping protecting the fullbacks. In my opinion, do you know what I mean? But is anyone else worried? Is anyone else any opinions?
I'm always worried against West Ham, and if you look at them on paper, they've got players that can hurt us. absolutely. You know, especially in those wide areas, because that's where we're most vulnerable typically. But will Lopetegui be too pragmatic? And obviously that's worked well for a lot of teams against us so far this season. But
Yeah.
I don't know. In the same way as, you know, those of us that are questioning and wanting more from Ange and the players and what we're, you know, in the control question again that we talked about. I think West Ham fans and Ben alluded to this earlier. They're up in arms about, you know, if you think, you know, they won the transfer window, they definitely had a very good transfer window, however you want to describe it. But the output they're getting from that group of players isn't enough. And I think they wanted a step up in quality, but I think maybe Lopetegui doesn't play completely the brand of football that they thought they were getting. Do you know what I mean?
Did it go silent? Where's Jay gone?
Yeah, you know, you thought, hey, this is the most sense he's made. He's the most sense he's made all evening. So the point will be that you'll look at the Somervilles, and in isolation, you'll be like, oh, this is a good player. You know, he's got this and that. But then you're not looking, okay, how does he fit with Paqueta? What is his skill set that allows? And I feel like West Ham have got just. I mean, if I had a stadium that I didn't have to pay for and it could get for 100 years, I'd probably just buy, you know, every pretty decent talent that is interested in us. And, you know, that Steiden, I think sometimes this is why I don't get too annoyed at Spurs not signing sometimes, is because there's lots of good players out there. But if you're trying to buy players who are gonna let me move away from needles and drugs. If you're trying to find players who are difference makers, then the list of players is a lot shorter, and you have to be more selective. Do you know what I mean? You don't buy players like Guido Rodriguez on 3-year contracts at 30 years old. Yeah, that's not what you do. So I think they've got good players. I think they could cause us problems. Like Bowen on Udogi, kudos on Porro, kudos sitting on whoever plays as the number 6 and trying to run off them. I think it's gonna. I think this is where we talk about the control aspect, and where you say we don't want the ball going to their guys. We want to be causing them to have to clear the ball, for them to be losing 50-50s. The technical level they'll need, because I know Romero can eat up Antonio all day, but the technical level they'll need to retain the ball will then indicate maybe they want to play a Somerville or someone like that. But then if they're going to boot the ball long, because we've got a really good press on them, they're less likely to retain it if they do go with that. So they're kind of damned if they do and damned if they don't, if we play our game and do what we're doing. So this is like when we played Newcastle, and this we've been pretty good at home. You know, obviously, I think we played, was it 4 games? Is it? Was it 4 games we played at home?
I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Um,
We played Everton at home.
Everton,
Brentford,
Arsenal, Brentford.
Yeah.
Might only be 3 in the league.
Yeah,
Three. It's
3.
three.
Yeah.
So so we played 3 games, and so obviously I see this West Ham game. I'll see them broadly being a bit like Brentford. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, maybe they won't come out. I mean, I just don't. I think they'll play a bit like Brentford. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like
Maybe.
they'll press us a little bit more of a mid block. Not going to go super deep, but I don't see them going super deep against us. They might, but I'd be surprised. Um, I just don't. I feel if we play our game, I don't see how they stop us. I don't think they've got the tools to stop us.
Yeah. I think, it depends on what tactic they deploy. You're right. They could go to a mid block and be a bit pragmatic with Rodriguez. I got Rodriguez jumping in between the 2 centre backs, becoming a back 3 at times, and Paqueta and Souček being the double pivot just to protect them a bit more. But the issue is, if we do have the ball, and our centre back split wide, and Antonio goes to press Vicario, who's gonna, and they leave Romero and Van de Ven to have the ball. One of these players have to jump onto Bentancur, but then if Porro jumps into midfield, Kulu could pull out wide. Who's picking up Kulusevski? Bowen's in his cover shadow, but you've got a pass option in Porro, you've got a pass option in Kulusevski. You've also got a long ball into Johnson, and you've got a ball into Bentancur, who could easily bounce it to Maddison, who drops in sometimes and rotates for Udogi. So you've got the rotation there where we can play out. And you can see a little triangle there. If I can do a little triangle. Oh, no, I can't. A little triangle here where these teams, where we sometimes make little triangles here because people complain about the inversion, but at times it kind of works when we do drop in like this, when Solanke sometimes pulls off to the left, then we've got another triangle there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and that could suck, that could suck West Ham over to one side. So if their players get dragged out, all of a sudden you've got Johnson running out to in, and then he's free. You know, when Johnson's in this kind of pocket, he's going to want to score and score a goal. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it depends on what they deploy. I don't know if they're going to want Antonio ultra physical and tight onto the goalkeeper, or if they're going to want him to maybe bend his run, where if he bends his run, let me rub this arrow out. If he bends his run and has the cover shadow of Romero, because it normally goes out to Romero, then Mickey Van der Ven is the passing option. Then you've got, obviously, as I said before, Maddison there. He's always on. Maddison's always on when he drops into that kind of LCM kind of role or LCDM role. When he picks that ball up, he causes problems because Souček doesn't know, shall I follow him or shall I stay in my low block? If I follow him, that gives Udogi license and he's got space to run into, do you know what I mean? Or allows Solanke to be in space because Solanke drops off a lot. A lot of people don't like that. They want their striker to be the focal point. But him dropping into that space allows runners like Udogi to get into position and allows Johnson to get in position. Because as bad as Udogi was, he did get a shot off in the second half against Brighton on his right foot, his weaker foot. And the keeper
should have done better with that, to be fair.
Yeah, he should have done better. But I mean, it just goes to show, like, you know, we got players that can jump into different positions and players aren't getting picked up because of Solanke dropping into this type of position where he allows Johnson to get, 6 out of 6? Is it 6 out of 6 or 7 out of 7? Something like that. And he's allowing other players to score goals. Do you know what I mean? I think Solanke is a big reason why Johnson's scoring a lot of the goals by him dropping off the two centre-backs. Centre-backs don't know whether to engage or to stand off him. If they do engage, like I said.
But also Johnson's movement has been excellent over the last few. Like, he's playing like an inside forward rather than a winger, so that's allowed him to pick up better spots.
To be fair, the thing I'd say about Johnson, the biggest attribute I'd give him, and I say it to my kids all the time. Look, if you watch the game, Kane was a great example. How many goals he'd get by just arriving at the back stick at the right time. I think Juan Mata said it. He said when he was young, his dad used to say to him, look at the amount of times a ball just ends up coming across the back post. If you arrive at the back stick, you're going to get goals. And Johnson, if you look at all the goals he's got for Spurs in the last 2 seasons, an awful lot of them are him coming in and getting to that back post at the right time.
Well, also the thing is that I remember with Johnson, I've always seen it and the reason why I've always liked Johnson is mainly because it's a mental thing, because obviously his dad was a big player for Nottingham Forest, and then I always think it's very rare that the sons are better than the dads. That's quite a rare thing. And then also for him to be there to help him get promoted and stuff like that, and obviously, help him stay up. I was like, he's obviously got a lot about him mentally. So, and Paratici co-signed this guy. He liked him, and I've always thought that the one thing about that I've never understood about, and Ange kind of alluded to it, was that Johnson, to a lot of people say he looks crap, but look at that output. So I'm like, well, the day he stops looking crap, imagine what he's going to be doing. Do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of simple logic I've always had. And he's always making space. He's always getting into good areas, but his finishing was terrible last season. It's an interesting one because there's a lot of players who play for other teams that I feel like if they put the performance levels of other teams in our team, the fans would heavily criticize them. But because they play for other teams, they get a lot of appreciation. So, Johnson is a high performing player at the moment, and so we need him to be on form. And I guess you need to be looking at who's the best kind of complement. Is it a coincidence that Johnson, with Son out of the team, is doing X and Y? Is there some sort of overlap with that? Can these guys play properly together? Is there an issue there? I'm not sure.
No, it's a good question. It's a good point. I just think the balance at the moment, and I'm going to change this right now. I think come Sunday. Is it Sunday we're playing, right? Come
Saturday.
Sunday. Is it Saturday?
So I'll be Saturday 12:30.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love
Saturday.
it. I love it. Good. All right. So come Saturday, I think Werner won't be there, me personally. And I think we're going to have a certain Son Min Hung in that position. So if we've got Son there, I think the dynamic between Madison, Son, and Udogi, I think is fantastic at times. I think when they link up, they just got a better understanding than what Werner has, in my opinion. No shade on Werner, is what it is. I just feel like there's certain runs I've seen a doggy do, and he's doing an underlapping run, and Werner not pass.
Werner's has very low confidence to make these. His confidence is in the bin in terms of making tight call decisions. I find a lot of the time is when you're asking him to play in very small spaces, he's just not. He can. Yeah, his confidence is just in the bin, isn't it?
Yeah, the confidence is very low. But I just thought like overall decision making, certain things when you're used to playing, I call it relationism, where the players have that relationship on the field and they know what space to be in at what time, what their player's going to do, and when they're going to arrive, and it's all about timing. And I think generally between those three guys, they rate each other. Like there was a clip I put on last week where Madison was on the ball, and Madison was in this position here, and Solanke was here, and Werner was here, right? And if Madison passed the ball to Werner, Werner could have literally squared that ball.
Yeah, I remember.
He could
And
just
there was another Madison. You know what? Madison doesn't play the ball a lot. There was another time against Newcastle that springs to mind. I think you broke it down, and it was like he could have played it to Johnson, and Johnson could have put it across to the back post, and he didn't play that pass either.
Yeah, there was. You're right. yeah.
I remember it vividly because you broke it down exactly like that, and I was like, this guy, considering he's the number 10, your job is just play that role, play that ball. Makes me think sometimes like a Gibbs White or somebody who's more functional would sometimes do better because
or Angel.
Or an Angel Gomez would have been bullied off, had his dinner money taken, and had to sleep in the locker before he would even have the opportunity.
Angel, but I know his name's Angel. I know it's not Angel. I'm saying like he's Spanish, brother.
Yes.
Angel, bro.
Bring me that Baena guy that you were talking about in the summer.
Yeah. Baena. We need that loving because he will play that ball early and fast and from way back where. Do you know what I mean? But score predictions, guys. I think Marlon's getting tired. I know I am. Any score predictions?
I think we'll win. I think it'll be 3. I'll go 3-2.
3-2. Hey, what? Is Jay scared? Is Jay scared? Well, that's his score predictions. He got nervous. Mad.
My man's online constantly, he says, but whenever we need him, he's not online.
His internet's always gone.
Make this shit up. You can't make this up. All right, cool. I'm going to ask
the beginning, he's missed the end, but he was here in the middle. That's the most important thing. You know what? He's giving us the substitution that Ange hasn't. He's come in. He's run his heart out. He's fired so many shots. Yeah. And then he's just run back and got a shower.
He's crumbled at the end, crumble pie, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to ask for Jay, and Jay's going to go with a 3-0 Spurs. Yes, 3-0 Spurs. My worst Jay impression. But yeah, 3-0 Spurs for Jay. For myself,
I don't think it was zesty enough for Jay.
no,
I
it
think
wasn't. I can't do it.
you're in the right postcode, just not the right street number.
I've got that Coronation Street now. That's
Coronation Street.
Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
I haven't got that in me, so I'm gonna go anyway. I'm gonna go. My score prediction will be a 2-1, a 2-1 Spurs. I feel like we're gonna score more than that, though. I think you're right. 3-1. Let me go 3-1. Let me go 3-1. What do you say, Marlon? Talk to me, bro.
Well, I suppose I've got to give my prediction to Irish later on in the week, so I'll give you lot a little bit of an insight to what I'm going to say. If you look at results, you stated it right at the beginning, are matching a lot to last season, apart from the Man United game and the Leicester game, which basically means we're matching. Look, I know we're going to play well, but I've got to go with exactly the same result as we've done last year, and I reckon it'll be a defeat. 12:30
West
kickoff.
Ham beat us. I'm telling you, Ange is on the ropes. I don't care what man say.
He won't be. Yeah, he won't be. He
Ange
won't
on
be.
the ropes. No,
won't
you know
be.
why Ange is on the ropes? Because look, what will happen is, look, we have to go to Palace away. Yeah, deep that.
Which we won last year.
Yeah.
So we'll win there.
But then this is when it gets techie. 3 games back to back, 9 days, right? 3 days break between them. Aston Villa, boom.
Is that home or away?
Good question.
And we've got AZ at home in between that as well.
Yeah. But look. Honestly,
after that, sorry, quickly. Galatasaray away.
He'll win that.
What would you reckon? Galatasaray?
I think he'll win it.
I don't know, man. And then straight after that, Man City.
No, listen. This is it. We've got West Ham, AZ at home, Palace away, City in the League Cup at home. Lots of tickets still out there, kids. Villa at home, Galatasaray, welcome to hell. Greek manager in Istanbul, lovely. At home to Ipswich, Tractor Boys, and then the Saturday 5:30 game is Man City before we then host Roma. So it's going to be a mad 6 weeks from here.
Yeah, and look, we lost. Look, I look at it like this, right? We lost to Newcastle before the break. Yeah, we lost to Newcastle before the break. Lost to Arsenal after the break. Lost to Brighton before the break. So theoretically, results are matching as well, and it's been consistent. We should technically lose this one.
So you're going by logic.
Is this El Sacico or like El beginning of the Endico for one of these managers?
No. It won't be the end. It won't be the end.
Talking about not the end.
There he is.
Oh yeah, hey. I'm very stingy. I've got like one charger, like one for my phone and one for my laptop. So it's like, they're both sharing it. So sometimes you guys get chat, sometimes the ladies get chat. I'm not discriminating. I'm not discriminating against either party. You know, I'm giving you guys time. I'm giving them time. It's gone on a little bit longer than I intended.
Sometimes you've got to listen to what people tell you.
That's what I'm saying. It's gone on a little bit longer. That's just the stamina for you, isn't it?
So yeah. For Tuesday evening session.
Hey, what can I say?
Listen, it's giving uni vibes.
Oh shit! Okay, you started using. See, I tried to use it's giving once to a girl, and she said it's giving homosexual. So ever since then, I've passed the comment. But I'm glad to see you bringing it back. I'm equal.
Shout out to her, whoever she is. Shout out to her. Amazing.
Well. No,
well.
Online, I'm not going to say nothing.
Yeah.
This show's had it all.
It's offline, I'm going to cuss you out still, but I'm trying to keep it PG. Everyone's welcome here.
We live in fluid times, guys.
We live in all of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
We said 8 and 8. 8 and 8 for Brennan, yeah?
Right for that.
Well, technically, he didn't score yesterday for Wales, so it's the first game
he suspended.
Oh,
Hey, that's Brendan's biggest fan, you know.
Oh, you don't know about me in the BDL, the Brennan Defense League. We meet every Wednesday.
BDL. BDL.
Yeah. So I saw some people in the chat get a little bit excited. BDL, B, not E, B. And so,
well, listen. From my point of view, in the KDL, the Kulu Defence League, we fully support you. We fully support you, Joe.
Yeah. I like that. Maybe we should do some sort of cross promotional meetings or something like that. Yeah,
bit of a collab. Yeah.
Why Sava call him a PE teacher now?
Wait, my brother's a PE teacher. We need some respect out
That's
here.
what I was going to say. Defend your brother's heritage and line.
Literally. You don't want two of us on your case, Sava.
That's what I'm saying. So I missed the prediction then. What did you guys say?
What's your prediction? Go on.
My prediction is 3-1.
You got it spot on, Ash.
Yeah. Ash is like every week. Jay says 3-1. No matter what. Man City at home 3-1. Man United away 3-1. Newcastle at home 3-1. It's just 3-1.
I know this guy, you know. Hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. In Steve, all right, look. I'm done. I'm gonna say in Steve Lee we trust. Is that how you say your name? Steve Lee?
Yeah. Amanda Stevely. I don't know.
Stevely in.
Amanda.
Stevely in, man. That's what I said.
Yeah. You. Oh, is that you? You won that Arab money. That was the song. I'm not just trying to get the channel cancelled. I promise.
But if that happens as well,
if it happens, it happens. But are you Amanda Stavely in? Do you just want success by any means necessary now?
One click for another, bro. One click for another.
Okay, got it. One click for another. Daniel Levy will be sending a strongly worded statement out to you very soon.
Brother,
alleged.
Just one baddie for another. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I beg your pardon?
What? One baddie for another. I said it.
Whoa, what sort of baddie are we talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
Ash is throwing it out there.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey.
That's
one baddie for another baddie.
Swapping a baddie for a baddie.
Josh knows this. It's so funny. It's like I think once I predicted a draw for us, but other than that, I think I've got that. You ever seen like the BBC prediction league where like I think every week like Souness predicted like Liverpool to win or something for like 4 years. But yeah, that's me in it. It's just
did you ever see when Mark Lawrenson was doing it? They actually did
it was Lawrenson. It was Lawrenson. Sorry, every week he predicted a Liverpool win for like 4 years.
Where the teams would be. If his predictions came true. Liverpool won it by a country mile. Spurs got relegated.
Yes. Oh man, it's one of those. But yeah, what did you guys go with scoreline? Sorry,
3-2 to Spurs.
Okay. I've forgotten already. I think I went for 2-1.
You said 2-1, but then you thought we get more goals.
Yeah.
And Marlon trying to drag the mood down on a Wednesday morning, saying we're going to lose.
Nah, but the thing is like there's set games we can't lose. Like that Coventry game, yeah. I was watching that Coventry game and I was like, we can't when you're watching a game and you almost like it's like I disassociated. It was like I was watching the game.
Out body experience.
Because I was genuinely, honestly, on my mother's life, I was like, we cannot lose a game the day after the manager comes back and comes out and doubles down on, I always win a trophy in my second season. We cannot now go out the next day to Coventry.
Yeah.
I was like, God.
Do you know how many messages were in draft ready?
Oh my God, man. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Elon's been able to pay for the next rocket to wherever he sends his rockets because
Elon Musk was going to
the servers didn't get melted down by anti-Spurs Twitter.
Yeah.
Mad. Marlon, you still there?
On that note. with my defeat. Look, I'm only going. Look, like I said, I'm only going by what Ange has done last season. Everything's the same, so I'm just going for exactly that. Otherwise, yeah, I think
you're saying
we're
we'll
better.
play really, really well, but get absolutely slapped in the face.
Yeah, we'll get 2 killer punches and that'll be it.
Sounds like Jay's uni dating, to be honest.
But yeah, so tomorrow, you're back with rivals, Ash?
Yeah, so guys, I'm throwing it out there, man. Listen, I'll be real, yeah. You see this rivals thing every week. It's not easy, isn't it?
They're a rowdy bunch of hooligans.
It's
what I would
mad.
say.
I'm looking, Jay. I'll be real, Jay. I'm looking for some Brighton fans. Maybe not even
some Brighton fans.
Maybe not even Brighton. Forest. I'm looking for Forest.
Forest would be good. Let me see what I can do on the timeline.
I'm looking for West Ham fans. I'm looking to little bro couple guys. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I hear that.
It's not easy. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Is this because of what Geordie? What's his name? I called him Geordie. Two Tactics said.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the top 6 when they're not in the mood. Because when they're ready to put Spurs out of it, they're like, nah, fuck off now.
Yeah, bro. See, bro. Every time it's like every time, like blue tick engagement. Why is Spurs considered a top 6 team? Oh, shut up.
Tava does have a link with Forest, so hit him up.
Hit him up, man.
That's good. Okay, we got Forest. Oh no, fuck them. Oh, we won the European Cup. What do you know about European? Oh, fuck off. Fuck you too.
You don't want a Villa fan either.
Oh yeah, the Villa fans. European. You know what I mean? Champions League. You'll never sing that. Oh, yourself too. You know what I mean?
Not just that.
I'm going to say on the whole Spurs, our Spurs are a big 6 club, big top 6. Obviously, we're not top 6, yeah. But why are we still in the conversation? Why, if we're so relevant, why am I? Why
you know what? They love to hate us. It's almost like get my team's name out your goddamn mouth.
Exactly. Why are you thinking on us?
It's because the big 6 like to little bro us. We need to get the next 6 and little bro them. Like Ash is saying. Yeah. I'm down. I'm down. Let's find some Crystal Palace fans.
Boys, just remember, start slapping kids around. You know what I mean?
Just remember, there were 4 big clubs that started the Premier League. Yeah. 4 big clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Man United, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal. Just remember that. Okay. The other clubs are not as... Yeah? So when people want to go at us, remember that.
I got to be careful because I start saying that, Marlon, and they'll be like, and where did that get you? And what have you done since then?
We'll just go, look what we helped you do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
There was no the dog a bone. I don't want to know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take that show on down the road, lads.
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't bring Villa into the conversation because if they take Charity Shield out of it, we're screwed.
Villa are breathing down our neck to overtake us. Not gonna lie, they're right there. So yeah, we probably need a trophy this season without question.
Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah, rival show tomorrow. Whatever time Ash decides to start, we'll be back next.
Ash, just threaten them. Just say to them, "Listen, don't make me cut you for a Forest fan." Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them again, bro. Tell them again.
Yeah, facts.
I've been avoiding Stefan since we lost to Brighton.
I know.
This is the thing. Like, he thinks I'm avoiding him. It's just I just don't like to be in the same place as him at the same time for any longer than 35 seconds. If you call that avoiding, you would be correct. And so,
when
on that note.
Yeah, when are you both on next? Jay, go first. When are you on next?
You know what? It depends. It depends if we win or lose. These algorithm merchants. If we win, I'll be here. If we lose, they got something different for you guys. A little bit of descent into madness. So Spurs will be the barometer as to when you guys see me again. Hopefully in the next few weeks, but It's always a pleasure. It's always a lot of fun. Obviously, Phil, I think it's one of my first times being on the channel with you.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
like a lot of even my man who tried to put words into my mouth, but we ended up, breaking bread and finding common grounds. It's all nice. But you got to give the PE teacher merchants abusers. You got to give them their chance to shine too. This is what I like about Spurs King. Is it does a good job of not being an echo chamber. You can't be too positive just because I'm naturally, but you gotta get balanced. So yeah, if Spurs win, you'll see me guys soon. If not,
See you in a-
just get the tinfoil hat, put the helmet on, and stick it out until I'm back, guys.
Phil P. You got anything coming up? You going to be on anyone's show?
I've got nothing coming up. There might be a small appearance for me on Tottenham on tour coming up, but I don't want to give up too many details. But listen, if people want me on, I'll come on. It's been a real pleasure dicing it up with you guys. Amazing channel, amazing people. What's not to like? Yeah, Jay, it's been lovely to meet you, mate. You're a wild guy, and big love. Listen, variety is the spice of life, guys. Do you know what I mean? But don't tell my wife.
Oh,
As
No,
always.
to give her ideas. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm doing anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing nothing out here. But I'll be there at White Hart Lane on Saturday. If anyone sees me, say hello. And I'll have whatever cider they're serving. So get involved. But listen, guys, real pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Amazing.
up Phil P, big up Jay, big up
And
everyone,
on
man.
that note, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs, man. And Civilly, we trust, man.